getting ready for 400 laps, 300 miles in the cookout. 400. Green flag is in the air. Martin Truex Jr. holding tough on the outside, but now the 11 starting to get the advantage. Denny Hamlin out in front. Martin Truex Jr. tucks in behind him. The two Toyotas leading the field. Riding along, here the Hunt Brothers Pizza on board, Joey Logano.
Yeah, I was going to say, Joey Logano, you see him kind of rolling the bottom of the racetrack, being patient back to the gas, but this is a racetrack, Jeff, where 3 wide behind them, there are options. You can make the bottom work, you can make the middle work, even the third lane if you get stuck up there.
3 wide now. Down the backstretch they go. Harrison Burton on the inside.
Yeah, this racetrack it's very racy. You got to be careful though, Steve, early in these runs. You push your car too hard, you're going to pay a price later. It's going to eat those tires off. You want to get track position, but you can't do it by spinning the tires, asking too much of them.
I think this challenge, Rick, is going to come right away. 70 laps, stage 1. And you see on the left-hand side, we see that little yellow chip next to all the names. That tells you that they're on the prime tire. But 70 laps is a long run for these tires. I could go 125 on fuel, but nobody's going to. So, Jeff, that patience on the throttle is going to be key if you're going to try to run this entire stage on a set.
Still side by side as William Byron is on the inside of that 45 of Tyler Reddick. Riding along with Cheddar's on board, Kyle Busch.
Still clear. Not there. Not there. It's a 2x2. One's trying to roll the top. Still 1 to you. Clear, clear.
43 race winless streak for Kyle Busch. Dates all the way back to Gateway in June of 2023 for his last win. And I know Marty mentioned earlier that it probably is going to take a win to get him into the playoffs, but I think Kyle's more worried about that streak that he's got going where he's won a race every season for 19 years. No one in the history of NASCAR has ever done that. He wants to keep that streak alive.
And I know it hasn't been the summer that the 8 team is looking for, but I never go to the racetrack counting the 8 car out. You just never know when he's going to kind of strike. And Kyle had a little bit of a wrist injury. He had mentioned in the media that he thought he might have to miss a race if we didn't have 2 weeks off. His wrist is wrapped up now. He didn't think it'll be an issue in the race. We just have to keep an eye on that.
It was an accident at Indianapolis, the last race 2 weeks ago, and the wheel snapped on him, and he said it just sprained my wrist. Marty.
Yeah, Rick, Kyle was very matter-of-fact in the media that you're talking about yesterday, saying, hey, if there was a race the week after Indy, no way I would have been in that race. He said he's fine this weekend. I asked Randall Burnett, did you guys do anything different with the wheel? Did you put a grip on it so it'd be easier for Kyle to hold on? He said no. All Kyle wanted was his wrist taped up pretty strongly. So there's the onboard right there. The Cheddar's onboard with Kyle Busch. So, Jeff, if you have a hurt wrist, I remember Martin Truex Jr. drove Bristol last year with a broken wrist. A hurt wrist at Richmond. How big of a challenge is that for Kyle Busch tonight?
Well, the key for Kyle Busch is, how injured is he? How good was the 2 weeks for him? You use your wrist a great deal driving the race car. This is how it happened. This happened late in the race. Kyle Busch is trying to make a pass, and he just couldn't stay on the bottom of the racetrack, loses the race car. And contact right there.
Saw that steering wheel snap while he was still holding on to it. So he's fighting through that while he is fighting to get to victory lane once again at this the highest level of stock car racing. But it's Denny Hamlin who has now put a 7/10 of a second lead over Martin Truex Jr. out in front of this field. Josh Berry, Christopher Bell, Bubba Wallace, Logano, Elliott, Buescher, Austin Dillon, and William Byron all in the top 10. And we've seen long green flag runs here. It's surprising a little bit when you say short track racing and long green flag runs, but that's almost typical when you come to Richmond.
Yeah, it just does not create a lot of yellows until the end. We've seen a rash of yellows in that final stage, but really the first and the second stage. Remember, this is a race in the spring that the first stage started on wet tires. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see how everybody just approaches it. Hamlin and Truex were kind of the two stars in the story at the end of that race on the final restart.
There's Kyle Larson in the 5, putting a little pressure on the 1 of Ross Chastain. Busy couple weeks for Kyle Larson. He won at the most famous racetrack probably in the world, Indianapolis Motor Speedway, a little over 2 weeks ago. And then last night went to Knoxville Raceway, which is probably the most famous dirt track oval in America, possibly the world, and won the Knoxville Nationals there.
Overtaking Ross Chastain. Chastain had been up 9 spots. You see it on the bottom left of the pylon there. You just wonder, you know, at what expense, how much age on the tires, or is the 5 just better, right? I mean, sometimes this is a little bit deeper in the field than we see the 5 normally qualify.
Ty Gibbs behind him in the 54.
Watch this right here. Watch the 24 William Byron. This is a way you can make a pass at this racetrack. You get a little bit of a run, and then you turn and you just go straight. As this front straightaway, Steve, it's curved. And so you just, you know, what's the shortest distance is a straight line. You just turn left, go straight to the corner. You're going to see that all night. Even a car that's not faster, if you can get it to turn, you can kind of fake that guy out a little bit, take the spot. You see Joey Logano, Chris Buescher, 3 wide into the corner. Contact early, Steve.
Well, the contact's early, and everyone knows that, you know, track position even matters this early in the races. We see Christopher Bell with a nice move around the outside of the 4 of Josh Berry. This 20 looked good in practice, looks good as well. You know, Adam Stevens is at home watching in. He's got to be smiling, seeing his driver move up. And at the back of the field, you see that crazy contact, pushing and shoving, because they know the leaders are coming. I mean, this is really difficult. If you start outside the top 25, it's really hard to stay on the lead lap, even if you have a good car, because this guy right here, the 11 of Denny Hamlin, has that clean air, clear traffic, and obviously a good race car.
Veterans know how to take care of their tires, and right now that is what Denny Hamlin is doing out in front, leading at Richmond in his home city. .23 laps in, and it's been all Denny Hamlin. The NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota, continues. Want to get a few updates from pit road, and we'll start with Dylan.
Well, Josh Berry runs in the 5th spot. He has lost a couple spots just over the last few laps. Haven't heard him say anything on the radio, but this is a really important race for this Ford team. They have to win if they want to fight for a championship and make the playoffs, and they have this one circled on the calendar. Have been fast all weekend, have made minimal changes all weekend. Josh really gets around this racetrack well, kind of suits his driving style as a late model guy and a short track racer in the Southeast. Just trying to kind of stop the bleeding right now as he continues to feel pressure from the top 5 position there, Kim.
Well, Dylan, the tire option we're talking about tonight was first tested at the All-Star race in North Wilkesboro. Who won that race? Joey Logano. So I asked the team how optimistic they were. Crew chief Paul Wolf told me before the tire option was announced, Richmond was circled as a race they could win. When it's a track you can definitely win, he said having a tire option actually isn't ideal because it could throw them off track. It adds a challenge that might prevent them from winning at a place they otherwise had felt really confident they could find victory lane. Right now, Marty, just a little snug on the 22 car.
Kim, Martin Truex Jr. started second. He's running second right now. He's only said one thing to James Small so far in this race, and it was back on lap 6, very early in this run. And Stevie said, brake shake. I don't know. That seemed very early for that kind of a communication from Martin Truex Jr. So if you were on James Small on top of the pit box, would you be concerned about that being the only thing your driver has said on this run?
So not concerned about brake failure, but concerned because it might limit the performance of the car. Brake shake, Rick, overall, this is a track that while you use the brakes, you're kind of on them for a long duration, but lightly loaded. You don't really stand on the pedal. So if you don't get the brakes hot enough, they actually kind of get blotchy with pad material and the brakes pulsate. So as you press on that pedal, it shakes, which gives you a bad feel for the front tires and actually takes grip away from the race car.
Steve, you mentioned the racing back in the field a few minutes ago. Look at this right here. Kyle Busch had been racing Austin Cindric for several laps. Finally, Kyle's like, I've just had enough. He just drives the car deep into the corner, just kind of takes that spot. And since he's done that, he's been able to drive away. And then behind them, Todd Gilliland trying to use all the racetrack. Some contact. That was pretty hard contact.
Bubba Wallace, a little contact here. He moves Josh Berry up the racetrack. We'll see if this equates into a pass. Right now, Josh Berry not ready to relinquish this position. Bubba Wallace completes the pass, though. Josh Berry tries the crossover move as he goes back to the inside of the 23. Berry's been going the wrong direction. Wallace trying to take that 5th spot away.
You see the back of both of those cars moving around. It's only lap 32 in this run, and both of them are struggling with rear grip. They're running 5th and 6th, so imagine what the guy running 30th, the back of his car looks like.
Well, we're going to see it here relatively soon because the 11 of Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell have kind of closed in on the back of the field.
It's a really good move right there by Bubba Wallace. He's able to just carry a little more speed. Josh Berry now, I think, recognizes, all right, 23's quicker. I'm just going to heat my tires up and do more damage racing him than if I let him go.
You got Ross Chastain as far as points go, and we're looking at the top 16. Ross Chastain now out of the top 16. Bubba Wallace into the top 16 on where they are currently running. Bell has closed the gap now, and Martin Truex Jr. That 20 car looking very strong early in this race.
Yeah, was able to gain on corner entry and still carry that speed through the middle of the corner. Sometimes you see better entry speed, but it doesn't turn. Once again, you see right here the 20 rolls right to the right rear quarter panel of the 19. He's going to kind of put the position. I believe Truex will just concede. He knows what Jeff's talking about using those tires up, and there's no reason. He saw the 20 run him down from behind. Bell's going to make short work of the 19 and very quickly will be on the rear bumper of the 11.
Looking off fast laps. Christopher Bell, the fastest lap that time at a 24.62 compared to Hamlin at a 24.71. So even though it was only 9/100ths of a second, Bell still increasing, and that was with a pass. Let's take a look at the Toyota driver update as they're dominating the top 3. We have Hamlin, Bell, and Truex 1, 2, 3. Wallace is in 5th, and Tyler Reddick back in 11th.
the 3 favorites. Remember, that's what DraftKings had as the 3 favorites. The Garage had them as the 3 favorites. You can see why. Here they are running 1, 2, 3. I like this 3 car, though. You know, sitting there in 8th. So let's just, what are we looking for out of the 3? This is a marked improvement of pace from the 3. He's not up there with the 11 and the 20 and the 19 yet, but you have to improve. And it's going to happen over time. This is the step I'm looking for. The bottom of the screen, the 8 of Kyle Busch, he needs it as well as he battles the 99 of Suarez. Suarez is actually going by the 8 right here.
And Richard Childress Racing, a little over a month ago, RC came out and said, we got to make some changes. We need to do some things either with engineering. We've got to make changes as far as positionings. Ben Lynch, one of their engineers, went from the 3 team to the 8 team. That was a change in the break, the Olympic break. And they're trying to figure out what that right chemistry is and the right people are so that they can put this team back on the way it was as far as every race going to there with the option of winning.
Yeah, look, this is a very competitive sport, and you can be really good, and all of a sudden everybody's caught up to you, and you have work to do. And I know Richard Childress, he is going to be making changes to make this team better. And even though Kyle Busch is not having the day so far that he wants, he's fallen back to 18th after qualifying 12th. Having his teammate Austin Dillon run well, that's a positive sign. And obviously you want to be the guy that's running well, but one of you needs to be making good lap time because now you're learning, and eventually you can apply that to your car.
Christopher Bell has got to the back bumper of the 11.
For the lead, we'll see if Bell takes that high line. It looks like he's going to. Now lap traffic's going to come into play.
There's cars all over the racetrack. That's what's fun about this place. Got cars running up by the wall, the bottom, the middle, everywhere.
It's Parker Retzlaff that they're coming up on in the 66, making his first Cup Series start.
And look, Parker, you know, while he hasn't moved through the field, he's still kind of right on the back of the other tail cars. It's not like he's lost the group.
Parker, a full-time Xfinity Series driver.
As soon as these guys got to Parker, they immediately slowed down. You know, they were running 70s, now they're running mid-80s, 90s.
That clean air is key. And now Denny's going to try to figure out a way to get by Parker without losing this lead to the 20 of Bell.
You can almost hear the radios start to light up of the cars in front of the 66 talking about the leaders coming. And you know, the drivers, look, I know, I am trying. I'm doing the best I can.
Giving her all she's got. As Bell now back on the bumper and looks to the inside. Let's see if this is the preferred line as Bell goes side by side, door to door for the lead. He'll have to check up, drop back in behind the 11 as they both get by Parker Retzlaff in that 66.
Christopher Bell starting to get a little bit higher in the corner. There's some guys further back in the pack that are way up the racetrack.
Bell that higher line than the 11. But again, they're having to negotiate around lap traffic now. And so that changes Bell's strategy, also changes Denny Hamlin's strategy, trying to keep him behind him.
Yeah, I think Bell's got him where he wants him now. The top of the racetrack's really good. Now, Denny Hamlin can't go to the throttle. He's got to turn the wheel a little bit more than he wants to because he's pinched on the bottom of the racetrack. That's what Bell wanted. He wanted to be able to get to the outside because now it's easier for him to do with his car what he wants to, and it's harder for Denny down there.
Pass complete. Christopher Bell out in front now at Richmond. And look who's coming up for second. Martin Truex Jr. is going to go to the outside of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin, after he led the first 45 laps, it's Christopher Bell out in front. The Cookout 400. fans, make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. You can follow the racing action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras and a radio broadcast. Search NASCAR in your app store, and you can start a free trial today. Right now, it's Bell, Hamlin, Truex Jr., Logano, and Wallace, the top 5. Bell, with his 8 laps led, is over 600 laps led this year. That is the most in his career. He has a 1.1 second lead now over Denny Hamlin. Let's go homes.com through the field, and we'll start with you, Marty.
Boy, Rick, stage 1 clicking by fast. Just 16 to go in this first stage of the night. And how about this stretch for Bubba Wallace and his crew chief, Booty Barker? They have gained 44 points to the cut line in the last 3 races. And here tonight, they've already gained a couple of spots after the start. They started 8th, they're up to 5th. That is only complaint, a little bit too free on entry, Kim.
Well, Marty, Chase Elliott currently running in the 6th position. They had a great qualifying effort, started in the 4th position. So I asked crew chief Alan Gustafson, what do you have for the race? He said, this is a place where you never know exactly what you have. It's hard to get a good read here. He said, it wouldn't surprise me if we win or we finish 15th. Behind him, running in the 7th position, Austin Dillon had a great day yesterday. Top speed in 1 lap speed and had a top 5 car in 10 lap consecutive speeds. Justin Alexander, the crew chief, told me that they have practice speed, they have qualifying speed. We haven't had both in a long time. We are trying to put together a full weekend for the first time in a very long time, Dylan.
Josh Berry runs in the 9th spot behind Chris Buescher, who runs in 8th. Berry has continued to fall back. His latest report, just sliding the front tires. The weak spot for them is getting into turn number 1. Rodney Childers, the crew chief, just told Josh to work the brake bias knob to try to help. They'd love to stabilize here to try and stay in the top 10 for some stage points, Kim.
And as we look at Tyler Reddick currently running in the 10th position, I asked him, as you get ready for the playoffs, what do you want to do differently this year and over the next 4 weeks to prepare? And he said the thing that worked against us was at times last year we were making big mistakes. So that's what they're trying to do over the last few weeks to get playoff ready, is minimizing their bad days. And he also said the thing that we've had on our side, Dylan, is speed.
William Byron runs behind him in the 11th spot. Said he's a little bit tight. That's normal here at Richmond. Rudy Fugle, his crew chief, said yesterday they weren't super happy early in the run. They were better on the long run. That's always important here. We've got one of those right now, obviously. Byron's up 2 spots from the start, Marty.
Dylan, when I talked to Ryan Blaney earlier today, he said our short track program has been phenomenal. Remember, they won Iowa earlier this year. But when I said, how was practice? He said, honestly, not that great. I just hope we can get out of here at Richmond tonight with a top 10. 11 laps to go here in stage 1, Rick. Christopher Bell still out front.
Bell, look at how he had to negotiate around the 51 of Justin Haley and sliding up the racetrack. Again, see Bell leading this race right now, under 10 laps to go. And remember, the 11 and the 19, they're on the same team. Well, sort of. As we look at this, the 11 drifts up the track a little bit, gets into the 19 into the 15, and contact is made. This is short track racing, right, Jeff?
That's what Denny says. Martin doesn't feel the same way.
Under 9 laps to go in stage 1. We mentioned it early. You could see long green flag runs here at Richmond, and this one has been green since the first lap. We're seeing drivers go way up the racetrack, like Ty Dillon there in the 16.
For these drivers towards the back, this last 8 laps right here could be the difference in their race. Staying on the lead lap or being perhaps the free pass, the first car 1 lap down. We saw that battle between the 51 of Justin Haley and the 20 of Bell. Well, it continues. Bell with that big slide. The 51 did nothing wrong. He's trying to keep this race going, and the 20 just goes in and kind of bullies him out of the way, as the leader has every right to do it. But you can see he's had enough. Now the 51 has to turn his attention to the 34 behind him and try to hold off McDowell and hope Bell doesn't lap any more cars.
That's an aggressive move, racing a lap car. He's just like, I've had enough. That's what this racing is. It's so competitive. It's turned into a lot of contact like that. Guys just get to the point where, like, I'm going to still take this spot no matter how I have to.
Haley wants to stay in that free pass position. It's the highest scored lap down car. And Haley's in it right now as long as Bell doesn't pass the next car in front of him, which would be Corey LaJoie. And if he wouldn't get passed by McDowell, which right now McDowell on the bottom of the racetrack trying to get that free pass position. He takes it away from Haley.
I got bad news for both of them. The 20 of Bell has the 7 basically in his sights. I think he's going to make short work of Corey LaJoie. Corey giving it everything he can on the top of the racetrack, but the 20 just relentless roll on the bottom.
Now the Christopher Bell does not have the entry that he wants. Has to enter much straighter because he's on the bottom of the racetrack, but just a better race car. Able to turn the middle, leave with rear grip.
Corey LaJoie is one of those drivers that was in the news during the 2 weeks off. Not positive for everyone. It was announced that he would not be returning to the 7 Inspired. No announcement on what the driver will be. Remember, Rodney Childers going there. So we know who the crew chief's going to be. Now we're kind of waiting to see who the driver will be and what options Corey LaJoie has for next year.
As we look at those drivers that we don't have a seat for that are from the Cup Series, you have Ryan Freese, you got Corey LaJoie, you got Harrison Burton, all looking for rides next season.
And Michael McDowell, he's doing a good job of trying to get by this 7 car.
Corey sliding there, under 3 laps to go. And again, Corey right now in that free pass position unless McDowell completes this pass. He's right on the bottom of the racetrack. Under 2 laps to go now for C-Bell.
This is such an intense race for these 2 guys. This could be the difference in a good night and a bad night. Staying on, being the first car lap down. They're both hoping the 20 can't get by the 10.
Noah Gregson behind the wheel of 10, and can he stay in front of Christopher Bell for the next lap?
This is for the dog. Clear.
And how much is Christopher Bell going to push it after that big slide with the 51?
Christopher Bell knows that there's a playoff point waiting for him if he's able to win this stage. As he goes into turn 3, looks like he's going to stay behind that 10. And Christopher Bell will win stage 1. And it's his 10th stage win of 2024. That's most of all drivers. McDowell not able to get to the 10 of Gregson. So as they finish the 10 drivers, top 10 from that stage, crossing the line, the caution comes out. And stage 1 complete from Richmond Raceway. You're watching NASCAR Cup Series Racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Ashley. For the love of home, shop in-store or online. Straight Talk Wireless. And by Toyota. Let's go places. Stage 1 is complete. Noah Gragson actually never was passed by the 20 of Bell, so he stays on the lead lap. It looks as though McDowell was able to get by LaJoie, and so McDowell was in the free pass position at the end of that stage when the caution came out. So it looks like the 34 will get the free pass. Pit road still closed as scoring, making sure everybody's in the right position before they open pit road. Did the first stage go as we had anticipated, with Christopher Bell looking strong in practice, qualifying yesterday and coming out and winning stage 1?
Yeah, Bell showed the strength he had in practice. The 11 and the 19 didn't really shock anyone. For the crew chiefs, I think going green start to finish is a little bit of a relief. You know, we talked a lot about tires. Let's just talk about number of tires. They have 8 sets in their pits. 2 of those are soft. 1 of them are their qualifying tires, so they got a couple laps on them. Well, 8 sets for a 400-lap race just doesn't math out really good. So you don't want to see a bunch of yellows. And all the crew chiefs were worried a yellow in that first stage, they would have burned a set. So they're all breathing a little easier now.
And Christopher Bell is going to lead his lead lap cars onto pit road, and we'll start with Kim.
And Joey Logano reporting loose in and loose off, but fired off snug in the center, continued to stay snug throughout the course of the run in the center, but he thinks the track's going to tighten up, so if he said if we do anything, it needs to be freed up. 4 fresh Goodyear tires, Snow Go Fuel, Dylan.
Christopher Bell, middle of the screen, led the final 28 laps of that stage, said we're definitely a little free exit, but the car rolls the center really nice. 4 tires and fuel and some contact with Eric Jones, Marty.
Oh, Eric Jones spun around there, Dylan, as you mentioned. Chris Gabehart said to Denny Hamlin, I think you need help on entry. Hamlin said, I need help actually on exit. They cannot take advantage of that number 1 stall. Bit of a drag race there with his teammate Martin Truex Jr., and they did help him on exit. At the end of the day, Christopher Bell comes in with the lead, leaves with the lead.
Top 4, no changing of positions there. There's some contact made with the 20, though. We saw him get into the 43 as he was leaving his pit box. We're embedded with the 18.
Remember the 20, without their crew chief, that's normally his job. Damage on the front of the 20 of Christopher Bell. Contact leaving the pits. Remember, Adam Stevens at home, Chris Sherwood, the car chief, making the call. Let's listen into the radio.
Outside, one outside, go, whoa, whoa. Adjust. You're good. At your mark now.
Yeah, that was more exciting than I was anticipating.
It didn't sound like anything just egregious to me, Jeff, but I think it's just tempo, timing, different audio. I thought Chris did a nice job, but remember, new at this, and Christopher hearing a different voice.
But what I heard as a driver is outside, meaning I can't go all the way to the outside of the wall, but what I needed to hear is he's going to stop 2 boxes ahead. I needed to be told, stop, 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 don't go.
Yeah, that's almost a wait. It was even a little bit of contact on the 10, so lots of contact. We'll have to see if the damage affects the 20 of Bell.
They're side by side. It's Bell on the inside, Hamlin on the outside. The lights come back on, so we're not going green here. They've added a lap. Let's check in with Marty. We're going to be embedded with that 18.
And I want to introduce you, Rick, to Jerry Tuttle, the hauler driver for Kyle Busch's team. And he has probably the most unique outside of the sport job in the garage area. He raises world-class bulls for PBR competition. In fact, one of his bulls, Raging JT, won the world championship in 2010. His most recent championship contending bull, who was at the World Finals in May, is named Fat Randy. In fact, it's in honor of crew chief Randall Burnett. So I had to ask Randall Burnett, who you guys know is not exactly a quote fat guy, right? How did that come about? He said, well, I tend to graze in the hauler on the snack drawer. So my joking nickname in the team is Fat Randy. They named the bull after me, and he tried to win a world championship for Jerry earlier this year.
Such a great story. First taker, Option Tires, Daniel Suarez will start just inside the top 20. We're going to see how this goes.
McDowell also with the Option Tires. Let's listen in to the spotter of the 8s as we get ready for the green flag.
Still inside quarter. Still inside bumper. Clear low quick if you want to shop it. He's going to dive back in there. Back inside. Nothing off the back by 2 to your lane. Bottom lane still covered. Watch that 3 wide front here. By 1 out the back to your lane now. Bottom lane still full. Bottom lane's going to stack a little here. Nose still tight. Front to the bottom. By 2 to your lane. Bottom still covered. Still inside. Half your lane now, 38. Still inside. 4 is by 2 in front to the full 99 when you come off 2. Still inside door, 1 off 38.
Side by side for the lead is Denny Hamlin, now surging ahead on the outside. Can he clear Bell for the lead?
On the left-hand side, you see the 99 on the bottom of your screen, 3 wide top, driving into the top 10. The question is answered. We knew they had more grip. Would they work in traffic? They are for the 99, and these 2 Gibbs cars are like Velcroed together for the front, Rick.
Hamlin can't clear the 20. The 20 can't clear the 11. They stay side by side as we continue to watch Daniel Suarez take advantage of those red Option tires, as now he's going to go by Buescher.
And we're not the
more
only
contact here up front.
Yeah, we're not the only one watching that 99. Every team on pit road, every driver is hearing that the 99 is on those tires. How about this battle between the 11 and the 20? Relentless.
That's a great battle for the lead. 2 teammates going at it.
And it's been JGR. As now the 11 has barely cleared the 20. Let's see if he keeps it. He does. So Denny Hamlin back out in front. JGR has, as a team, 4 total top 10s in the last 4 races of 2024 combined. Now, they have been running either 1-2 or 1-2-3 at the start of this race, looking for a good race here at Richmond. Keep an eye on that 99. And how long can he go when he's clicking off faster laps than everybody else?
And while this is going on in the mid-pack, this 34 car, he started dead last because he was the free pass. He's on those red Option tires, and he has already passed about 15 cars with those tires.
Well, you ask how long, Rick. We saw 30, 35 laps before the 2 tires even down in practice. We'll see if it's the same in traffic, but we've only seen 7 on this run. So the 99 up 11 spots in just 7 laps. If the pace stays in these tires, he'll be leading this race.
But for how long will the tires last? That's the big question, because this stage is 160 laps.
Well, they all know they're going to pit a couple times. Some may only pit once in this stage. I think 2 pit stops in this stage is the math everybody's looking for. The bigger story is, okay, they worked, and you've used a set. So you have one less set than most everyone else in the field other than McDowell. I mean, look, this is what we hoped it would look like. The 99 started outside the top 15, and he has driven to the third place. He's going to go find the front two instantly.
And McDowell's driven to 19, and he is passing Cindric now for 18. He was dead last. He was 36th, and in just a few laps, he has driven halfway through the field.
If I'm a car that I believe can win the race, I have to sit on these reds. It's going to be everything you can do to hold them until your last couple pit stops, but I wouldn't even think about putting them on until the last 100 laps of the race from what I'm seeing.
Suarez, you see how much faster, 2 miles an hour faster than the race leader, Denny Hamlin.
I do think it's important for Daniel, and I think he's done it. Like, we haven't seen him slip. We haven't seen him spin the rear tires. We haven't seen him sideways. Yes, he's made up a lot of spots, but he's not been out of control. He hasn't been abusing the tires doing it. If you're going to put these tires on, Steve, you have to push them. Because if you don't, why do it? You have to be able to take advantage of the speed, but you can't abuse them, Dylan.
Well, and how important is just being efficient and getting to the front early so that then you can maybe kind of control the pace a little bit better. I think that's probably what you want as Suarez looks outside Hamlin for the lead. Get to the front early, then maybe you slow down the guys behind you to help you save your tires that much better.
I totally agree, Dylan. To Jeff's point about sliding and abusing, once the 99 gets control of the race, then he can also control the pace. Or the other thought is, they're going to fall off, so just run away. If this thing runs green like the first stage, you want to run away, stretch this gap, because when you come in under green, you want to have the biggest gap. Let's listen into what the team's saying on the 99.
Best pace you can run, but conserving a little bit. Whatever takes care of the tires here.
There's your answer. They're not thinking about a gap to the lead. Now that they have the lead, just run whatever percentage. You can look in the mirror, give yourself a gap back to the 11th.
So Daniel Suarez, restarting outside the top 15 on the option tires, has taken the lead. DraftKings Sportsbook is an authorized gaming operator of NASCAR, and this week New customers can bet $5 and pocket $150 in bonus bets instantly. You can download the app and use promo code SPEED when you sign up. DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours, Steve.
Well, if there was ever a race you wanted to bet some live odds, this might be the one. Bell, Hamlin, Truex still at the top. Bell, after that good first stage, now the favorite over Hamlin. You want to know where the 99 is? Well, he's 18-1 out there on soft, those red option tires. The question is it a long shot sort of day? Can your driver, can that long shot put the reds on at the right time? It's obviously a huge advantage as we see McDowell, who started shotgun on the field on this run, drives into ninth, now inside the top 10.
Marty.
Rick, that is now plus 19 for Michael McDowell on the option tire since the restart. As Steve mentioned, from the back of the field all the way up to the 9th position. Just talked to Travis Peterson, his crew chief, as now it's plus 20 for Michael McDowell as he goes around Ross Chastain. And I asked Travis Peterson, Steve, I said, are they working better than you thought they would? He said, 100%. I had no idea it would be this good. But I got to ask you, Steve, do you agree with Travis, number one, that it's working better than we all thought it would? And number two, he said he thinks the transition is coming in about 10 laps. He said it could go the other way very quickly. Do you agree with that as well?
Well, I do believe that this is more pace than what we thought we saw in practice. I also like that the 34 gave it a try. They were the free pass car. They had to kind of flip this race and try to gain an advantage. I don't know when the transition is coming, but it is such an advantage on the front half. It would have to really fall off a cliff. I expect a lot of these leaders to come to pit road, you know, around lap 125 to 127. So you're talking like 21 or 2 laps if they're going to pit twice, 151 or 152 if they're only going to pit once. I'm not sure they can fall far enough off the cliff to give back this advantage.
Well, that is the first lap. Lap 25 of this run, that is the first lap that the 20 ran the same speed as Suarez with the option tires. So let's see if this continues.
But reading on the 99's radio, he's now backing it up. They've coached him back. They told him to give up some of the lead, save the tires. So to your point, Jeff, you see the lap time, but I don't think it's organic. I think that Suarez, per the radio anyway, not running as hard as he could.
And that's smart.
It's still in 3.1 seconds, the advantage right now over Bell.
And this is what they are telling Christopher Bell. They have that same info. This is the transmission on the radio.
Good job here. This is going to be a shorter run. Just do what you need here. We're going to get that 99 on the backside of this run. Everything's going to go right.
And so whether they catch him by Suarez backing the pace up or just by Bell's tires being better, that's one thing. But then obviously getting back around him will be the other challenge for Bell.
Bell was faster that last lap by about 1/10 of a second than Suarez. So are they going to fall off a cliff, or is that the driver backing up to them?
I think it's the driver, because if I watch Mike McDowell and use that as my comparison, he's still moving forward. Same tires. I can't imagine it's going to be a big difference from at least those two cars.
So the ones who have taken on the option tires, they might come in a little bit sooner, but it's Daniel Suarez out in front right now. Make sure to represent your favorite driver and take advantage of amazing deals at the NASCAR shop. You can check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die-casts, and more by visiting NASCAR.com/shop today. We are on lap 115 of 400 for NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. And Daniel Suarez continues to lead. He has not been running as fast as the 20 of Bell, but he put a pretty good gap between the two of them. It's shrunk to 1.5 seconds now. And Dylan Welsh just told us that over the radio they told him to go as fast as you can. We'll see if the fall off of those tires has happened, and maybe they're going to come in a little sooner, Steve.
Well, and mission accomplished. Let's not forget he restarted 15th. When's the last time we have seen a 15th place restarter drive and take the lead in a stint, especially a short track race, right? So here he is leading the race, and I think if you're going to stop twice in this stage, which is an option, they're about, I don't know, maybe 8 or 10 laps away. So we'll just have to see what everyone else decides to do.
Yeah, the other guy, McDowell, you know, he's running in 7th spot. And again, yes, technically he started in 28th because he was the first car lap down, but last car on the lead lap, but he was started at the very end of the pack. So he has drove through the entire field to get here. He went by 30 cars to get here. You would think he would have completely abused his tires to do it. This is lap 37. It's starting to turn on him now because you can see the 3 car is starting to put some pressure on him. He drove by the 3 car pretty easily. Now the 3 car of Austin Dillon is starting to break even or gain a little bit on him. Marty.
And Jeff, that's what they just told Michael McDowell on the radio a moment ago. He said this is the transition, Travis Peterson to McDowell, that we're starting to equal with everybody in front of us. To that point, they had been better than everybody in front of them, but still drove from 28th to 7th, and the entire field noticed, including Denny Hamlin and Chris Gabehart. Right now they're sitting in the 3rd position, and Gabehart, watching some data, said, you need to drive a little bit harder into the corner. This was Denny Hamlin's response after trying that for a few laps.
Chris, I don't have an answer for you. I drive harder, I go slower. I know that's my trade-off.
Just keep working with it, bud. I'm going to give you the information. You keep working on it. This is your house. You got it. Figure it out.
Boy, what an inspirational speech there at the end from Chris Gabehart to Denny Hamlin. So, Jeff, have you found that to be the case here at Richmond? Sometimes the harder you try, the slower you'll go.
Well, certainly, Marty, we have done that a lot, you know, as drivers. You push it hard, trying to make speed, but pushing a little bit too hard, crossing a limit of grip, it actually goes slower.
So, Jeff, we mentioned that everybody noticed the alternate tires, the option tires, so putting them on right now for the 14 of Chase Briscoe. And here's Christopher Bell on pit road, Dylan.
And they've got another set of prime tires, the harder compound laid out for Christopher Bell. They didn't get as much fuel in the car on that last stop as they wanted to, so this is earlier than they wanted to. 4 tires and fuel for the 20, Kim.
Austin Cindric's going to make his stop, and they actually have those yellow prime tires on the wall. Crew Chief Brian Wilson decided to switch, do something different, so they will take the option tire. Right now, Austin, according to this, struggling with drive off, Dylan.
All right, so here's Daniel Suarez. He maintained once he got to the lead, held off Christopher Bell. They'll take those softer option tires off. Looks like they're going to a set of primed yellow lettered tires as well for Suarez, Marty.
Dylan, it's funny, I had this conversation with James Small this morning as Martin Truex Jr. comes down pit road. He said at some point in this race, we're going to see someone on the option tire, and they're going to be going fast, and we're going to be tempted to put them on. We can't. They go with the primary tire, Kim.
And a huge mistake by Chris Buescher, who blew past his pit box coming on to pit road under these green flag stops. Had to back it way up before he made that stop. And he was reporting to his team, I'm tight across the center, needs more drive up. So you see that mistake right there by Buescher, who desperately needs a good day, Marty.
Denny Hamlin coming down pit road after that conversation with Chris Gabehart. Gabehart told me this morning, I think teams that want to win the race will have to save both of their sets of option tires for stage 3 and specifically at the end of the stage. Hamlin still struggling with a little bit of entry issues and also some exit issues as green flag stops continue here at Richmond. Some teams opting for the option tire, some staying with the primary. A little bit longer here on the left front for the 11 car.
So again, as this pit cycle has started, the 99 was the race leader. Now it's Chase Elliott who's out front, but on pit road, Kim.
And Austin Dillon, remember, a very fast race car. They are putting prime tires on. He said, I've got decent forward drive. Picking up throttle, it gets a little tight. I need to be freed up. Struggling off corners with drive off.
See the 17 of Chris Buescher right there. That's racing the 20. The 17 was running 11th before Kim reported that he completely overshot his pit box. So this looks to me like he's going to lose a lap to the 20. I know that might not make sense in the moment, but you know, he was 11 spots behind the 20, gave up that time. I believe the 20 will put him a lap down during this cycle as it all kind of cycles through.
Chase Elliott on pit road. You see that now on the scoring pylon. Kim.
Chase Elliott will put prime tires on this stop. As you see the team going to work on the right side. He said, I'm more free than yesterday. I'm trying to guard my entry. The team telling him others are about a half a car length up from where he is on the turn. But overall, pretty decent for Chase Elliott.
And as you see on the pylon, not everyone has come to pit road, right? There's about 8 cars that have currently stayed on the racetrack. There is some math that says, hey, skip a pit stop. Run all the way to maybe like lap, you know, around lap 150 and only pit 1 time in this stage. So not just options for tire compounds, but options for strategy as well. A little bit haywire, but that gets Larson the lead.
Larson out in front. And again, you see when they were on pit road last, the last lap. Lap 75 for Larson, Reddick, Blaney, Byron, and Busch on pit road now. Kyle Busch bringing that number 8 to his team. Marty?
I think some of these teams were tempted to maybe try it on one stop, as Steve was mentioning it. You see Randall Burnett watching the stop for Kyle Busch here. They just need more help center, more help exit as well. They sticking with the primary tire here for Kyle Busch. Also coming down pit road next time will be Ryan Blaney coming down pit road. He said, I need way more turn in traffic for Ryan Blaney, who won a short track race earlier this year at Iowa. Him coming down pit road with 100 laps left here in stage 2.
And you saw the slow left side for the 8 car. It looked like they had to jack it back up to tighten the left rear. So that is going to put the 8 of Kyle Busch back, giving up multiple seconds in the pit stop itself. That was going to make for a frustrating night.
Dylan, how about the 24 of William Byron?
He cycled inside the top 5. They'll take prime tires off, put another set on. Williams said he just was burning through the rear tires. They battled that all day long, made an air pressure adjustment on the first stop. Looks like maybe another one there for the 24.
And there have been a few teams that have tried the option tires on this pit stint. We'll give you that as soon as we get clarity with it. We know the 4 went out there on the option tires. Here was that mistake on the 8 team, and it was on the left side, Steve.
You know, right side looks good. Watch the left side. Left rear comes off. He gets hung. Jack gets dropped. Now, very well done, whether it's communication on the radio or something that the 8 felt. He stopped and jacked it back up to tighten that left rear tire. I mean, a slow pit stop is bad, but the tire coming off on the racetrack, even worse.
And right now, only 18 cars on the lead lap, but again, a few up front. Larson, Reddick, Stenhouse Jr., they have not come to pit road yet.
Yeah, so basically 4th, Bell. He's the first car that is off from pit road with fresh tires running 4th.
Larson leading at Richmond. Kyle Larson continues to lead with 91 to go in stage 2. NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. Larson and Reddick still have to come to pit road. Stenhouse Jr. also. And an issue on pit road for the 17 team. Kim?
That's right. Originally, you called it him sliding through the box. That actually wasn't the case. That was what it looked like from the angle we were at. Actually, what happened is the left front was not tight leaving, and the team felt like they were going to lose it. You're seeing the B-roll there of him leaving the box. The team realized that left front was not tight, so they called him back to tighten up that left front. Now, doesn't matter whether he slid through the box or it was a left front issue. Regardless, detrimental losing that time on pit road for this team who needs big points here today, Marty.
Again, riding right beside him is Kyle Busch, who also had a bad pit stop and is now down a lap. Let's talk to Randall Burnett, embedded with the 18 here. So, Randall, what did you learn by those teams taking the option tire there in stage 2?
Yeah, we saw the 19 drive to the front there. The 99. And, he didn't fall off near as much as we anticipated, Obviously, the sun's going down, track's cooling off. We figured that was going to be a factor. So, I think there was a lot to be learned. There's some guys out there on reds right now. So, we got to see how that goes as well.
Appreciate the access from Randall Burnett and his race team. Kyle Busch down the lap now, but the battle for the lead, Rick, is heating up.
Yeah, it's not going to take long, though. Here comes Christopher Bell. He'll go by Larson. Larson still hasn't been to pit road.
So consider this. The Bell has come all the way to pit road, put fresh tires on, gone out, and made up all of the time to regain the lead. 2 reasons for that. One, the tires just have so much more grip. But one thing unique here at Richmond, you pit in the middle of 3 and 4. You exit off of turn 2. So while you would think you would lose a ton of time coming to pit road, it's actually one of the tracks where you lose the least. You only lose about 20 seconds in general, because while you're on pit road, you still run 2/3 of a lap. Right. So it's an interesting little math equation. That makes all of this green flag cycling really worth it, Dylan, because you don't lose as much time.
Yeah, well, and we talked about how Cliff Daniels said we're going to probably have to try something a little bit different just to make up for maybe the speed that we're missing in this car. He did just come on the radio. Kyle asked him, how much longer are we doing this? Cliff said we'll be in within 10 laps. So expect Larson in here in just a few moments.
And just to put in perspective, the 5 of Kyle Larson before all these pit stops was running 10th. So, just because he's lost the lead doesn't mean that, it's not working, it's all gone sideways. So far, so good for the 5 car.
But his strategy is pit once during this stage, and everybody else will come again.
Correct.
So he looks like, this strategy play might work out for the best, but we'll see after, everybody has come back to pit road again.
And even if time-wise it's a dead wash, you use 1 less set of tires. We get into that final stage and have a bunch of yellows. I would love to have those fresh shoes sitting in the pit stall.
Way up the racetrack goes Larson. Again, he has now fallen back to 3rd, so it's Bell and Suarez running 1 and 2. Now Suarez used one of his sets of option tires, so is it a plus for him? Is it a positive? Because he got track position by doing it, but now can he maintain it while saving that maybe 1 set of the option tires for the end of the race?
Well, it's going to be an uphill battle, but they didn't go for naught. He absolutely gained the time, as now we see the 45 of Reddick, that kind of second stage of pitters. This will be his first pit stop under green in this stage, Kim.
And completely lost rear grip at the end of that run. In fact, he wanted to run a higher lane, but he said it just felt like ice up there. He had no rear grip. He was looser overall that run. They will make an air pressure adjustment for fresh Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel.
As expected, right behind the 45, the 5 of Kyle Larson come to pit road. The math says now's the lap. Cliff Daniels calling his superstar driver who just won Knoxville last night. I think they said he's won 6 races, Dylan, between Indy and here in the sprint car. Good run for the 5.
He has. He's been on a hot streak. If you remember, they tried to do the one-stop strategy in this stage in the spring, and an ill-timed caution kind of threw that out of whack. So same approach here for Cliff Daniels and the 5 team. Prime tires going off. Another set going on here for Larson. We'll see where he cycles back through.
That looked close there on the left front, as he still had the gun on as he was pulling away.
It was definitely kind of a timing type play, right, Rick? We'll have to just wait and see to make sure everything gets tight on the 5. As we see the 4 of Josh Berry, the lead car on the option tire, up to 10th.
Differing strategies. There are at least 8 cars right now that are on that option tire. Dillon, the 47, now on its way.
Yeah, and that's Ricky Stenhouse Jr. It's been tough sledding for these guys today. Started 33rd, has stayed on the lead lap, and that was Ricky's goal early here. They'll go to the prime tires as well for Stenhouse here.
And now everyone has been to pit road, and as everything is cycled back out, it's Christopher Bell out in front, Suarez, Truex Jr., Hamlin, and Logano all in the top 5. Christopher Bell's been up front for 50 laps today. The only driver that has led more up to this point is the driver of the 11, and Denny Hamlin. And this is fitting. We want to take a look at the Xfinity fastest lap. He won the pole yesterday for this race, and he has had the fastest lap in this race. It was on lap 3, running a 22.735. Again, he was up front, had that clean air, and set that Xfinity fastest lap. We're riding along with the Toyota onboard of Denny Hamlin. Hamlin right now in the 4th position. So it's Bell, Suarez, Truex Jr., Hamlin, Logano, Chastain, McDowell, Austin Dillon, Bubba Wallace, and Chase Elliott all a part of the top 10. But there are some option tires that are making their way up close to that top 10. The furthest forward right now is Josh Berry running 12th.
And those option tires, they've kind of lost the luster now. You know, over 35 laps on them since they've come to pit road, and I think they've just got the good off those red tires and starting to lose a little time, Marty.
While we were in commercial, Brad Keselowski came down pit road, and Matt McCall made the call to go with the option tire, Steve. So they're down a lap right now, but when I talked to Matt McCall this morning, he said, listen, we're in a position where we need playoff points. If there's a way that maybe I can get a playoff point out of this, I'm going to try and do it. So Matt McCall making this decision to go with the option tire. So Steve, of the teams that are making this one tire or one stop here in stage 2, do you think they really have a shot to win this stage?
Well, I do think the ones that put primaries on have a shot. I don't like this call for the 6 just because we know the options. Remember, they're the softer tire, they're grippier. It's like the 100-yard dash. Why can't you run that pace for a mile? Because you just run out of air, you run out of breath. That's the same thing that happens to these option Goodyear tires. After about 30 or 35 laps, they start to lose grip and they really nose over. Well, remember, if he's only going to stop once, there's 68 to go in this stage. So I don't quite understand why you would be on the one-stop strategy and use the option. Those don't seem to line up. That's like X's and O's. They're not really the same. That's the opposite of other drivers like Gilliland and Barry and Priest. I understand why they did it. They're going to stop again here and just around the corner, Rick. So, you know, as we're on here with the BuildSubmarines.com on the 6 car, You know, I have the next wave of pit stops coming in, you know, less than 20 laps, probably like 17 laps. And actually, here where you start to see some of those guys that put those reds on, they're deciding to stop a little earlier. We see business on pit road with Priest and Cindric, Kim.
And Austin Cindric are putting prime tires on this. They just took off that option tire. Cindric is reporting that the handling is really sensitive and he needs more turn in the center. Just so tight he can't do what he wants with the car.
Cindric coming off of pit road and again put the prime tires back on.
We talk about when to put these tires on and when not to. Remember Suarez sitting there, he now is back on primes, right? So he used those tires, he used the option soft tires to get track position. And now he's running second, and now he has enough pace. He's actually the fastest car on the racetrack. So it's worked out for him so far, Dylan.
Josh Berry's balance on his race car continues to be a challenge. They have the red tires on right there. They will pull those off and put a set of primes on. Josh just complaining he's just missing front turn on that run for the 4 car.
The whole concept is very fascinating. Remember, this was used at the All-Star race, first points-paying race. The big difference, too, is A, the length of the stages, and B, the worn-out racetrack here at Richmond. Really kind of allows these tires to have completely different feels, different paces, as we see the 20 of Bell continuing to lead. The 48 of Alex Bowman, he's actually trying to get back a lap because he pitted in a different sequence than the 20.
41 also just was on pit road, so he is on the prime tires, but they're definitely fresher than the 20s tires of Christopher Bell. Interesting that tires have been such a storyline here, but it plays into the strategy of how you get that track position, like you just mentioned, Jeff.
And this is an important pass right here for 5 of Larson. Remember, he stopped much later, so this is unlapping himself. So now a caution wouldn't be so painful. Now he's back basically on the lead lap when he passes the 20. He still doesn't want to see a yellow because it kind of kills his strategy, but at least he's on the lead lap if it happens.
With this strategy, he is the highest scored car doing this strategy. So if it continues to run green all the way out, we would anticipate that all those people who are trying to do 2 stops in this stage would have to come to pit road and he could take back the lead.
And I actually have Reddick in front of him. He's, I think, the highest scored car on this strategy.
You see Todd Gilliland too fast exiting green flag, pit stop, that's going to be costly.
.58 to go in stage 2, probably earlier than these teams wanted to pit here that are doing 2 stops, and a disastrous stop for Martin Truex Jr. The left rear is not on when they put the car down. They have to jack it back up. Fortunately, he did not go back out on the racetrack, Kim, but this will cost him a ton of track position. Just went nowhere after the stop.
And Steve, it looks like he had the gun the wrong direction because the lug stayed on the gun. It never even went on the hub.
Well, I don't think he even got a chance to do it. I think that they were so far behind, the tire got hung and the jack dropped before he even got a chance to tighten it up. Those lug nuts stay on the socket with magnet, which is fortunate. That thing starts bouncing down pit road and it's a total mess. Levin and Denny Hamlin on pit road in front of you, Marty.
Yeah, so normally you would want to run a little bit longer here, Steve. This is going to be a 55-lap run or so for Denny Hamlin to go to the very end of the race. So they're going to stay with the primary tire here for Hamlin, who's still struggling on the exit of the corner. Needs a little help on entry as well. And a lot of teams would like to go to the option tire here, Steve, on this final stop of the day. final stop here in stage 2, Kim, but they feel like they have to go longer to do that.
And Joey Logano, and you see the chassis adjustment, he said, I am just struggling in dirty air. My car is so sensitive, tight center, loose off. We have not seen the option tires on the 22 yet. Paul Wolf told me he was saving them for the final stage, Dylan.
Here's Christopher Bell, and just reported that he was a little bit free off on that run, but still really happy with the balance. Crew goes around to the left side, 4 tires and fuel for the 20, Marty.
Here comes Ryan Blaney, who's been down a lap for pretty much all of stage 2 here, still saying I just need a little bit better turn in the middle of the corner, especially when I'm in traffic, Dylan.
William Byron is in as well. He was reporting again that he kept burning through the rear tires on that run. They'll go to the prime tires here for Byron in the 24.
So now it's basically the whole battle of the tortoise and the hare, right? We have Reddick, Elliott and Reddick out there. I think Elliott will come to pit road. Reddick is really going to be the guy who's leading this strategy as we see the 9 of Chase Elliott, as expected, peels off the banking. That will give the 45 of Reddick the lead. Let's watch this stop on the 9 car. We've seen a lot of pit road mistakes. We'll see how smooth it is for the 9, Kim.
And he stops solidly in his box. They're going to put a set of prime tires on this car. Chase saying my center never cut very good. I am just too free in. They will take an air pressure adjustment as they put snow fuel in. Looks like a routine stop under green for Chase Elliott.
So Elliott gave up the lead, but he gave it to Reddick and Larson, who we do not think will be back on pit road unless a caution comes out.
So here's basically what you have. You have Tyler Reddick going down into turn 1. 51 laps to go. Was last on pit road at 148. So he only has, I don't know, about 25, 30 laps on his tires. Bell, fresh off pit road, is running in about the 4th position, but he's 8 seconds back. Now, I think math says Bell's going to run him down and probably go by him in 51 laps. But for Reddick, it could be a net gain. He's going to stay on the racetrack, and as we said, save a set of tires. So the unfortunate part for the 45 is the 20 on the bottom has a big, clear straightaway in front. That's not what he needs. He needs a lot of traffic for Bell to burn those tires up. No such case for the 20.
Keselowski was on pit road at lap 154. And we have completed lap 180, so 26 laps ago. But Keselowski is the highest running option tire that is up front. That's what you see with the red chip just to the right of Keselowski. And those are the softer tires, the option tires. There's only 2 sets of them that they can utilize during this race. And the crew chiefs have to decide when to put them on, as we see the 8 back on pit road. Marty?
And after that bad pit stop last time, Randall Burnett trying to do everything he can to get his driver some track position. So you're going to see the option tire go on for Kyle Busch. And that was a conversation a moment ago. Kyle saying, how much longer do I have to stay out here? Burnett told him, Steve, I have to run longer because I'm going to go to the option tire. I don't want to make that run too long.
And I think the option tire for the 8 is simply to make up for the bad pit stop. Remember, they had that issue. They had to back the car up, tighten that left side tire. I think that was going to cost the 8 a lap during this stage. So this is Randall saying, hey, I don't want to kind of show my cards, but I have got to start the final stage on the lead lap. Let's put the softer tires on. Let's get a sprint going. There's Randall right there on the bottom left of your screen. Now he's got to coach his driver to somehow make time, not burn the tires off. Cautiously aggressive, Jeff.
Yeah, it's just a great example of what this tire allows you to do. It allows you to try to use it to make up for a mistake. And if you're leading the race, you're not going to use this tire right now. You don't need to, but these guys that are trying to stay in the lead lap, get a lap back, it's the right time for the team to use it. What you hope, though, is you can take advantage of it. You got to go back up there and get that lap back.
Corey LaJoie way up the racetrack in the 7. Tyler Reddick in the 45, out in front of the field. He has a little over a 0.2 of a second lead over Suarez. Suarez is out in front. It's NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. So you see Suarez in the 99. He was able to get by Reddick. Bell has also passed Reddick. So Suarez, Bell, Reddick, Larson, Hamlin, those are the top 5. Steve, let's reset now as we expect everyone to stay out on the racetrack to the end of this stage.
So Suarez, great job. Used a set of softs, kind of got some track position, leads the race. Bell in second. Reddick third on a one-stop strategy, running 12th before he implemented this strategy. So if he finishes anywhere inside the top 10, it's a success. Larson behind him, same situation. The real question for me is this guy, Kyle Busch, 15-second pit stop, first pit stop under green. Randall Burnett pulls the set of the reds on, and he is on the gas here, trying to find this way. He's one lap down, Jeff. The 8 cars race is to get this lap back in the next 38.
He's only about 3 seconds behind Suarez. You can see how much faster he is than Bell. He's got to push as hard as he can. Take advantage of these tires. It's a great call by this team to get back in the lead lap.
Down right now, the 20 right there is 2, racing the 14, 17, the 2 up there. The 99 is the leader right.
See, that's all I need. If I'm driving that 8 car, that's what I need to know. This 20 car, he's in second. The 99 is leading. That's who I've got to get by. Got to get that 99.
And Steve, these option tires seem like it's another tool in your tool chest that's like, okay, we had a mistake on pit road. Let's throw the red tires on, see if we can make up for that mistake.
You know, but we talk about a lot of this when we get fuel mileage racing. You know, we talk about that fuel tax. You short fill, then you pay the penalty later. I think it's going to be the same way here. The way I look at it, Suarez is doing an amazing job. But when we look at how many sets of softs everyone has left, to be in contention to win this race, I think you've had to have run a smooth race where you still have your 2 sets in that final stage. So I agree. You see on the left-hand side, option sets remaining. Everybody with 2, they are feeling great about life right now. But it allows the 8 to try something. That's what this is all about, right? Is you kind of, you know, offense, defense. In a Norman stick and ball, you adapt as you go. You mentioned it's one more option, one more tool for the crew chiefs.
And it's done exactly. Honestly, I like the formula. Like they last about 35 laps. That's about what they last. Then they fall off. You don't want this tire to be better the entire run. You want there to be the price when you put this tire on. It takes off fast, but then it wears out. So when do you put it on, right? That's the strategy to it. All the cars that ran well early, they put them in the bank. They're going to use them later.
Yeah.
They're looking to win the race. There's other guys that use them that are just trying to stay on a lead lap. Like in the case of Suarez,
right?
He used them to get the lead, and he's kept it.
Way up the racetrack.
It's like the star in Mario Kart, Rick. You get the star, you just go right to the front. It's beautiful.
So there's the 8 related in its relationship to the 99 of Suarez. So he's trying to get back on the lead lap, and he's about a half a lap away from doing that because he's got a lot faster tires, but he still has 32 laps to go to get to the end of the stage. Those tires are going to start to fall off.
Well, I think that's where the experience of Kyle Busch comes in. You know, he's done a lot of different kind of racing. He's done a lot of racing in late models where you really have to save your tire, and I think that's what he's done. He's gone and he's pushed, but the car's never moved around. He's never gotten it sideways. I think that he knows the goal is to get this pass done right there. That gets him back in the lead lap. Now maintain pace. Do not abuse this race car, so hopefully the tires don't fall off on the other end.
So now, Jeff, and I don't know the answer because this is new to me as well, if you're Kyle Busch, do you just park it right here in front of the 99?
Now looking for the 54, 41, and 12.
So 54, 41, and 12, those are the next cars they want to race because they're for position. But my question, Jeff, right, is do you back this thing up and just stay there? Do you run the tire life out of the car, or does it help them last if you don't beat them up?
You have to drive the car where you're a little bit below its max grip. Whatever pace that is, Steve, you as a driver know I'm abusing the tire or I'm not abusing the tire. You've got to get it right to that. And that's what you have to do. I'm afraid if you just sat in front of Suarez that you're going to save a little bit of tire, but it's still going to fall off at the end. And now Suarez is right to your rear bumper. So I want to gap Suarez a little bit, but I want to do it while I'm saving a little bit of tire.
Marty.
Terrific call by Randall Burnett to go with the option tire here and get his driver Kyle Busch back on the lead lap. Also a tip of the cap to the pit crew as well. Michael Russell is the front tire changer for Kyle Busch. So you hear about a lot of football players that come on the NASCAR pit crews. How about a baseball player, a professional baseball player? He played at North Carolina, where he was an All-American shortstop, and then was drafted by the Tampa Bay Rays, played in their organization, made it up to AAA, almost got the call up to the Rays. And this is his 1-year anniversary today of pitting a race car in the NASCAR Cup Series. I asked him, so what's the difference between, you know, hitting a curveball and hitting a lug nut? He said, honestly, that hand-eye coordination is the same, but even a year in, I'm still learning this craft, but he's one of the good ones here on pit road, Dylan.
Daniel Suarez is the race leader, and once he got to the lead, his pace has been really good. Team has been encouraging him and reminding him of that the pace has been really strong, and especially deep into the run. The biggest radio communication now, as he goes back around the slower car of Ty Gibbs, is basically who's on what tires around him. Gibbs is on the softer red tires, so they told Daniel he was going to start falling back to you, but they're watching Christopher Bell as well, who runs in the second spot. He's got 4-lap newer tires than Suarez does, so that's what the information is to the 99 right now. Who's on what, who's got better tires than him right now, Kim?
Well, Dylan, Tyler Reddick runs in the 4th position. That track position gained by making this stage a one-stop stage currently on those prime tires. But I talked to Tyler in general about how he feels about Richmond, and he said early in his career, especially in the Xfinity Series, he could not have been more lost here. But he said when he moved to the Cup Series, he got a better feel for the track, and he attributes that to the people around him. First at RCR with the help of his crew chief at the time, Randall Burnett, and then he told me he took another huge leap here in getting good and getting a feel for this track when he came to 2311 because of team owner Denny Hamlin. He's been a major contributor to Tyler understanding this racetrack. Right there you saw crew chief Billy Scott making that call for a one-stop stage. This team still has both sets of those option tires left for that final stage here at Richmond.
And Kim, Denny Hamlin will continue to praise Tyler Reddick and say he can get more speed, more raw speed out of race car than anybody he knows. And that's high praise coming from a guy who's won 54 times at the highest level here. There's Denny Hamlin with Toyota on board. And Hamlin currently running in the 3rd position. So it's Suarez, Bell, Hamlin, Reddick, and Logano. Again, Reddick, when he went on this strategy, he was in 12th. So maybe this is playing out pretty well for him, as well as Suarez. Join NASCAR's free rewards program and start earning points that turn into member-only rewards. You can earn those points every time you check in for a race from home or at the track. Just visit NASCAR.com/fan-rewards. Out front, Suarez has a 2.8-second lead over Bell. Hamlin 5 seconds back. Then it's Reddick 8.9 seconds behind him. Logano is 12.3 seconds behind Suarez right now. So this has worked out very well for Suarez. The only problem is he has one less set of the option tires than everyone else.
As we see the 99 battling the 6 right here to put Brad Keselowski down a lap. That's really what's in front of the 99, right? We have the 4 of Josh Berry just in front of him, and in front of the 4 is the 8 of Kyle Busch. Can Josh Berry stay in front of the 99 over these next 18 laps?
And Brad Keselowski, he pitted on lap 154, and he's on option tires, so those things are they're not happy right now.
Yeah, they are not.
Gone.
We're going to see that experience you talked about with Kyle Busch, if he found a way to do it. I can't say enough about this 99, though. You know, he got that track position, really running some great lap times. And I know Suarez has won a race this year, but Trackhouse has in overall, I feel like it's a step behind where they were last year in just raw speed. But this right here gives me a glimmer of hope that they figured some stuff out. And the one of Chastain running 13th, remember, he's locked in that battle with the 17 of Buescher for that last spot.
What a week for Suarez.
Oh, yeah. 2 weeks, yeah. Last 2 weeks have been pretty impressive for him.
Got married, won a race in Brazil, leading the race here, signed a contract for another year.
Yep, for 2025.
Stay at track. That's a solid week. I'm envious.
Let's get a few more updates from pit road, and we'll start with you, Kim.
And Austin Dillon running in the 6th position. We talked about what a strong day they had yesterday, and crew chief Justin Alexander confirmed just the gains that they feel like this team has made, specifically this weekend. He called it the best weekend that they've had all year. So big things going in the right direction for Austin Dillon, and he told me, if you see us with 2 sets of option tires by the 3rd stage, that means we feel like we have the speed to win. They have not used either of their option tires yet. Right now, Austin just saying it's a little tight, but overall, it's good, Marty.
Kim, shout out to Bubba Wallace for keeping his composure here in stage 2. Remember, at the end of stage 1, they finished 5th. They had a bad pit stop, fell back to all the way around 16th, and he has driven his way back up to the 8th position. And he told Booty Barker a couple of times, the first run in this stage and the second one as well, you keep making the car better every run, Dillon.
This has been a very composed drive as well for Carson Hocevar, who runs in the 11th spot. He's got a truck win here at Richmond last year, so understands the nature of this racetrack and how to conserve the tires. Of course, he's a short track racer as well, so that always helps. But this has been a really poised, really smart drive. They've done it on pace, haven't done anything too wild on the strategy. Just a fast race car, and Hocevar's on the charge forward.
Short track racing, so many different lines here at Richmond, and then you throw in, you have 2 different compounds for tires that you can take advantage of. We're seeing the different lines here as Larson way up against the wall. Some drivers ride along the yellow line, along that apron, like Carson Hocevar here. He even drifts up another line. Chase Briscoe in the 14 up against the wall. 10 laps remaining in stage 2. A reminder to those of you playing fantasy, check your lineup. You have 10 laps to make a change. Pull somebody out of the garage if you need to.
Any suggestions, Rick? I'm in a little bit of a quandary over here on what to do.
Who's in your garage?
Well, Tyler Reddick.
I pull him out of the garage. But the problem is, who are you going to who are you going to put in the garage?
You see right here, Kyle Larson loses a spot to the 19 of Truex. That puts Larson in 10th. When this whole mess started of how many times to pit and what tires you put on, he was running 10th. So, you know, really no harm, no foul. If he can kind of stay within a spot or 2 here with 9 laps to go, I'd say it wasn't an advantage, but it also wasn't a disadvantage for the 5-car to run this strategy.
But the one thing you had mentioned earlier is he's got an extra set of tires. So he has one more set of the prime tires, but he'll also have both of the option tires as well if there are cautions in that final stage.
And look at this. It's just chaos back here. You mentioned using every bit of the racetrack. They are all over this thing.
They are everywhere.
Looking back.
Crazy how this racetrack, there was a year, actually Dale Jarrett won the race. Everybody was locked around the bottom around here. I know he won the race because he passed me for the lead on the outside. And since that race, it has been run anywhere you can.
There's Jones there in the 43.
We talked a lot about the playoffs. Suarez locked in with that win. You know, if he can win this stage, that's a playoff point. That's to be super valuable when we get later into the playoffs.
He only has 5 playoff points compared to Larson, who's leading with 28. So he needs to put some in the bank.
These long green flag runs, you see the separation. Right now, there are only 18 cars on the lead lap, and the driver of the 8, Kyle Busch, who we're embedded with in this stage, is that final car on the lead lap.
He used those soft tires for all they were worth.
Yeah, almost on the lead lap. He doesn't look like he's going to be able to hang on to that lead lap, but he could get the free pass if he could stay up here close to Suarez.
Yeah, so Josh Berry is in front of the 99 of Suarez. So Kyle Busch is a big Josh Berry fan right now.
He either wants to be good enough to hold off the 99 or bad enough that the 8 can pass it.
Or get the 20 of Bell up there racing Suarez, because Bell is running down just a little bit.
4 of Barry, wanting to stay on the lead lap with less than 4 laps to go here in stage 2. Now Suarez looks to the outside of Barry. If he puts him a lap down, that would put Josh Berry in the free pass position.
For context, Josh Berry is running 17th. So Daniel Suarez, with good strategy and a fast race car, has put a lot of race cars a lap down.
So we will get the dog here. Just finish it out.
Just finish it out. So Suarez now 2 laps away from a stage 2 win. And what a strategy we have seen out of the 99 team to give himself track position, now the possibility of winning a stage.
Look at this chaos back here.
Truex Jr. running 10th. Suarez now a lap away. It's Suarez, Bell, Hamlin, Logano, Dillon, Reddick, McDowell, Wallace, Hocevar, and Martin Truex Jr. the top 10, all looking for stage points here. And the 99 of Suarez looking for his 4th career stage win. This one will be the first since 2022. Daniel Suarez wins stage 2. The fight for the last point. The 19 trying to stay in front of the 9. And Elliott is going to get by the 19 for the 10th spot there in stage 2.
So if you don't think 1 point matters, that's how hard they'll race for it. Oh, he's hot. Didn't like that.
And not happy. There's a surprise. Martin Truex Jr. finishing just outside of the top 10. And remember, he hasn't won this year, but he has the most points, at least above 17th right now. And there was still some contact taking place. Suarez wins stage 2. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Progressive Insurance. Save when you bundle auto, home, or motorcycle insurance. Visit progressive.com. Sonic. Live free. Eat Sonic. And by the Credit One Bank NASCAR American Express card. Daniel Suarez claims the stage 2 victory, but was it an eventful stage for the 8 team? Most definitely, Marty.
Rick, we talked about Kyle Busch's left wrist injury. He has his glove off, and he asked the team for a pair of scissors. You can see he's got his hand down there to his leg. So I'm wondering, Jeff, if Kyle wants to cut off what they had fashioned for his wrist. They wrapped it really tightly. I wonder if he wants that cut off here while he has some time under caution.
Well, I certainly don't want to speculate about what he has going on, but I can tell you from my previous experience, I wrapped my wrist one time and my body swelled. You know, I had swelling while the race went on. I had to cut it off because it was actually starting to hurt.
And pit road is open. They're coming towards you, Dylan.
And different strategies here for the top 2. Christopher Bell said his balance was getting worse, tighter in the center and loose off. He is adamant about keeping track position. They will put the red tires on to start this final stage. Daniel Suarez in the middle of the screen. They debated for a long time. They're going to go with the prime tire here. Only 16 cars on the lead lap. So want to use the harder tire in their clean air to keep track position, Marty.
Denny Hamlin at the very end of pit road. He said it came in very nicely for me, and it certainly helped my injury. It was much better that run. He's having trouble hearing his pit crew. Hamlin leaves pit road, and a number of teams, Rick, here deciding to go with the option tire at the start of stage 3.
We will see if that is the right strategy. That's what we love about this race. You just never know. Getting ready for the start of the final stage. It's NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. As sun's setting here, and you see a lot of option tires for the start of this stage. Does that surprise you, Steve?
Yeah, split decision at the front of the field. You see that the Gibbs cars like it, the 22 of Logano. I like actually what the 3 decided there. He stayed on the primary tires. Now it's going to hurt right here because all these reds are going to definitely have more grip. Bubba Wallace, you see, actually it's hard to tell on Bubba Wallace. The 19 look like they're red for sure.
Take another replay of Kyle now again with the wrist issue and got the scissors.
I was told not to run with scissors and never tried driving with scissors.
Hopefully.
It's challenging to everything that's going on inside that race car. Is challenging to do things like this. Be careful.
So he's cutting right there between the webbing, between his pointy finger and his thumb, you can tell.
And is he going to cut it completely off or just maybe loosen it up a little bit?
Well, do the best he can and probably try to get his glove back on before we go racing here.
I know one thing he's going to ask for this week is a sharper set of scissors.
he definitely gave him the dullest scissors they could, it looks like.
Man.
Gave me a butter knife, man.
Look at, he's like, what have you given me?
Yeah. Well, he continued to cut as they're 2x2. Suarez and Bell making up row 1. Hamlin and Austin Dillon, a great run right now for that 3-team. Logano, Reddick, McDowell, Wallace, Martin Truex Jr., Chase Elliott.
All right, rinse and repeat. 10 laps longer than the stage we just saw. The same side of chaos is going to happen. 2 stops. Math would say 2 green flag pit stops, the best way to break this up. We'll see if the softer tires changes that up, and we will see, will we get an organic yellow? I don't know. I think they're all mad at each other, so I think something's going to happen.
That sunset, by the way, was a blend of the option and the prime.
Oh, that's what I like that, Rick.
Red and yellow. Look at the most points earned today in the stages. Bell gets 19, Hamlin 17, Logano 14, Dillon and Suarez 10. As the green flag comes back out, we're back underway with the final stage. Again, as soon as our technology updates, we will give you who is on the red and who is on the yellow. There you see it. Everyone but Suarez inside of the top 17 has the option tires on. Those red tires, they're softer, they run faster, but for a shorter distance. See Suarez falling back just a bit.
It's tight right here.
Look at this. 4 wide now. Suarez trying to hang on. He sees all those red tires going by him.
You have to be patient if you're Suarez. It's very difficult, but you were able to make all these passes on the option tire. Now it's going to happen to you. But remember, you gained all that track position by doing it. Don't let frustration get you right here. They're going to have an advantage for a little bit. They're going to pit, probably put on the prime tire, then you'll be back even with them.
So Suarez now has fallen all the way back to 16th. And just that quickly. Steve, I don't know if we saw this in the playbook to start the final stage on the option tires, but so many teams have done this, and that means only 1 set. Is that the proper strategy, or do you think having 2 sets of option tires for the end of the race is the winning strategy?
I actually like having 2 sets of option tires, but I'm not sure anyone has them left. Right, Suarez has already burned a set. Every leader already has burned a set as well. So I don't believe there's a set in the field or a car in the field on the lead lap that has 2 left. So I'm not sure. I thought the 3, there was some communication back and forth about the 3, but they're red tires with yellow tape. So they're a little hard to see. But we confirmed the 3 is absolutely on the softer tire, which makes sense looking at the pace.
All right, Marty, what about the 11 and Denny Hamlin?
Well, I know talking to Chris Gabehart this morning as to why they made this decision to start stage 3 on the option tire, Steve. He said, number one, I think if we are in the top 5, which they were when they came down pit road, we want to be on that option tire to begin stage 3. The theory is they thought more people would maybe be on the primary tire and they could drive away from the field just a little bit. The other thing is, and this is the nuancey thing that crew chiefs have to think about, Steve, is he said the adjustment to go from the primary tire to the option tire, fairly significant. It would take time under green, so I'd rather do 1 under caution if I can and save just 1 under green if that's an option for me. I think all these teams, though, certainly in the Gibbs camp, they're going to save that other set of option tires for the very, very, very end of the race.
Well, basically everyone inside the top 15 has them, so now it's just a good old short track race. It's not really a tire conversation anymore. It will be under the pit stop, but in this run right here, Jeff, it's just how good your car is.
Blowing up.
Oh, no.
Oh, blowing up. Another engine issue. We've seen this out of the Toyotas recently in the next few weeks or
Missing like
months.
crazy, got no power.
Missing, no power. What are you hearing, Marty?
Yeah, and Martin Truex Jr., you heard it. You heard the conversation. He came on the radio and said, I think I'm blowing up. And then you heard the back end of that where he said, missing, I have no power. They're trying to walk him through gauges right now. And there you see him dive. He's going to come down to pit road. Truex came in, I believe, over plus 100 above the cut line. This is going to shake things up in the playoffs. We'll see where he cycles out, but so far no cars out of this race. If Truex does have a DNF, he would at this point finish last.
Well, the positive is he did get 8 points in stages, so that's not a lot, but at least he didn't get anything. He got nothing, so a bad day, but 8 points in the bank.
Well, and in Truex's last season, I think he feels confident about making the playoffs. I think he's looking for that victory lane, Rick. I mean,
yeah,
I think he wants to win in his final year.
Before the engine expired here, he was 102 points above 17th, which right now is Ross Chastain, but it is going to drop considerably. You see 88 points, and that's still going to continue down until he gets scored as the last car on the racetrack.
And as I had mentioned, we saw Ty Gibbs had an engine issue. We've seen a few of these Toyotas over the last couple months. I can't speak that they're related, but it's definitely going to be a cause for concern. I'm sure they'll look into it. Marty.
Yeah, in fact, Ty Gibbs has had a couple of engine issues, and James Small just told Martin Truex Jr. shut it down. So they are indeed done for the night here on the 19. They're going to push him back to the garage area. And yeah, see, I don't think they're really worried about their playoff spot, but it's certainly going to change the picture for this 19 in the final 3 races.
Bell continues to lead over Logano, Hamlin, Reddick, Dillon, Bell, and Hamlin. That just is never a good feeling when you see one of your team cars have an engine issue.
Well, things continue in the wrong direction for Martin Truex Jr. Remember, he had won the regular season a year back and had all of those playoff points. And then when the playoffs started, it went dismal all the way to the end of the year. And then it hasn't really picked back up again. Now, we thought he had a lot of points, but with this, that's going to bring it that much closer to bringing them together and getting a little bit closer to that cut line.
Fascinated to see this run right here, Jeff, because a lot of the competitors, or even heard Cliff Daniels say at the beginning of the race that he thought this option tire could just be the tire. Forget 2 different options, right? Let's run this softer tire all the time. Let's let the drivers manage it, like we saw at Bristol with them wearing out. Well, now, why we don't have a full field on them? We have nearly everyone on the lead lap. So as this run continues, 15 laps in, I want to see it lap 30, 35, 40. Do we start to see kind of comers and goers, guys that have burned their stuff up? I think this is a good lab test for not only 2 different tire types, but now what would this tire alone look like if we ran it for the whole race, Jeff?
Exactly. This race isn't just about having an option tire and a prime tire. It's about learning. What can we do to make this sport better, make racing better? I applaud everyone for trying something different, and I can tell you there's been a lot learned tonight.
Well, and it takes everyone, right? The drivers have to be on board. Goodyear has to be committed. NASCAR. You know, everyone has to willing to take a little bit of a risk.
It's C. Bell out in front. He's on those option tires, leading once again at Richmond. He has led 91 laps already.
136 laps to go here at Richmond. Christopher Bell out front. His teammate Martin Truex Jr. is out of it. Did it give you any indication that something was wrong with the engine, Martin?
It just hiccuped once down the backstretch and then started missing. So it's like it broke a valve spring or something, and then it just kind of self-disintegrated right there, self-destructed really quickly. So yeah, I don't know, just one of them days.
How chaotic was this race to keep up with the option tires and the different pit strategy and all of that tonight, Martin?
It really wasn't. I think James made the right call to put the tires on when he did. We just had that issue on pit road with the left rear wheel coming off. We went from being one of the fastest cars on the track to not having a very good car with a very small change. So I think we just missed an adjustment racetrack-wise, but we were still going to be okay. It's a shame. Last race here full time, and would have been nice to get another win.
Yeah, one of his favorite racetracks. Martin Truex Jr. has 3 Richmond wins, but he's going to be the first car out here tonight.
And he referenced that retirement statement that they made back in Iowa. Christopher Bell, that was the same time that he made the slip that Chase Briscoe was going to be filling in for the 19 driver once he did retire. Let's see which drivers are on the move, brought to you by Ashley Furniture. And this is from the start of the race. McDowell has made up 21 spots. Stenhouse Jr. 20 positions. Chastain, Hocevar, and Logano all on that list as well. Logano making up 7 since the start of the race.
You see on the left-hand side who has what left. A couple goose eggs there in the tire column for these grippier tires. As we see, Bell leads. Logano, Hamlin, Reddick. Man, you know, you can't. That's this 3-car. I wasn't sure. You know, looked good in practice, qualified well, but you just heard Truex right there. One small adjustment, the car went away. Right. This is a very temperamental racetrack. It's easy to dial yourself in or out. I have to hand it to that 3-car. They've been good all weekend long. Justin Alexander staying on top of the adjustments, has him inside the top 5.
And the same strategy that we're seeing out of right now the leader, Christopher Bell. Dylan.
Well, it has been a great day and a great weekend for this entire 20 team, despite maybe some potential adversity there with the absence of Adam Stevens, who is certainly with this group in spirit this weekend. But Christopher was confident about this weekend and really has been confident about the rest of their season. He said this is the best position we've ever been in, both in points, just in team execution as well, heading into the playoffs. We still have a lot of really good tracks coming up for us to get some more playoff points. So all is right now for the 20 car. They've been the dominant car all day long, Kim.
Well, Dylan, you mentioned teams facing adversity. Lots of adversity for this final stage. That's because Austin Cindric lost power steering during stage 2. His crew chief, Brian Rislin, told him they could go under the hood and work on it, but they would have lost a ton of spots. So Austin told them, I would rather push through it than lose spots. Currently running in the 17th position, and they're one of those teams that's already used up both sets of those option tires.
Really impressed that Austin Cindric can run the pace that he's running. You know, he has the option tires on right now. He's the first car lap down, so that's what they're trying to do, is they're hoping for a caution right now, get themselves back in the lead lap. But normally when we see a driver lose power steering, they don't have this pace. And I'm surprised he's able to get the car to turn as well as he is, like we saw right there.
Now, Austin Cindric, one of the bigger drivers, maybe a little stronger, but at the same time, that's a lot of work if you don't have power steering with one of these cars.
You know, that 77 he's passing Carson Hocevar, that's a 10th place car on the lead lap. So, you know, Cindric is 17th in the running order, but, you know, he's driving through the field.
Yeah, this is lap 34 on this run. So we are getting ready to start to see these reds, this option tire, they're getting ready to start falling off and losing speed. Interesting to see when they start coming down pit road.
Well, look at the fastest car on the lead lap was that lap. The one and only Daniel Suarez on the prime tire, right? So the flip has happened. Now the problem is he's all the way back 17 seconds behind the leader. I think he'll make a little bit of that time up, but I expect these cars on pit road around lap 290, which is about 15 minutes away. That's 15 minutes, 15 laps away.
And we'll let you know the option sets remaining. 2 sets left for the 7, 15, 16, and 66. No sets left for those behind them.
back at Richmond, the first pit stops here in stage 3, and those on the alternate tire, the option tire, choosing to take those off and go with the primary tire, the primary Goodyear. He said Denny Hamlin to the car just won't turn the bottom like he'd like, Tim.
Joey Logano finishing his service. You saw the prime tires go on. That was a last-minute call. They actually had the reds on the wall right before he came down. He said, I'm free off, and the brake pedal getting a little bit soft. Marty.
Bubba Wallace, Kim, has clawed his way back towards the top 5. He came to pit road running in 6th when they were all out on the track together. Car still really good for Wallace. He goes to the primary tire, Dylan.
Christopher Bell there at the bottom of the screen was reporting he was really losing drive. Through pumped up with a good stop there. We'll see where Bell's able to cycle through. Here's Blaney in.
You know, Dylan, we wondered how teams would be different on the primary tire versus the option tire. And I will tell you, Ryan Blaney's car absolutely came to life here on the primary tire. But a slow stop on the right slide for Ryan Blaney, trying to get that right front on. This is going to cost him a lot of time. And you also saw the very big adjustment that it takes to go from the option tire to the primary tire.
16.8 seconds for Blaney. That's a good 7.5 seconds faster, slower than what they would hope to have. As you see Suarez right here, easily going to go by the 9. I like this call for the 99 to run long. Oh, man.
20 speeding.
Christopher Bell, such a great car, had led 115 laps and now caught with a speeding penalty.
Got a speeding penalty, Bell. Got to come in.
48 also speeding. He's on pit road right now serving that penalty.
So Christopher Bell has had a tough time here. 3rd straight race that he's got caught speeding at this racetrack.
We talked about it, Rick, you and I. You talked about, what we would see, and there was a lot of storylines, but you still have to execute. The 20 couldn't do it, the 9 on pit road, Kim.
And then I will put that prime set of tires on. Chase is reporting needs to be freed up a little bit. Air pressure adjustment as you see the Sunoco fuel going in.
So this is opportunity now, right? You have Suarez out there, Hamlin, Logano. The 20 speeding penalty has definitely changed the complexion at the front. Suarez yet to come to pit road. He's out there. Everyone else on the lead lap has pitted, with the exception of, it looks like McDowell, who's in 9th. Maybe Kyle Busch as well.
Gilliland possibly. Not on the lead lap, though. He's a lap down. So some of the pit cycle has taken place. Those that started on the option or red tires had to come to pit road, take those off. They put the prime or yellow tires on. And now can they last until, say, 45 to go, when you could potentially put the reds back on to finish this race? We'll be asking a lot of what Suarez has got going on here. Now, Suarez will have to at some point in time come to put another set of prime on, because that's what he started this stage with.
Yeah, Bell, very important for him right there to unlap himself. That's, I know it hurts, but he's still only running in the 15th position, now back on the lead lap after that speeding penalty. So a caution right here.
Wait a second, you're predicting a caution and we haven't seen one yet?
I'm not predicting. I'm just letting you know what the results would be if one came out.
112 laps to go.
Rick, if I knew when the yellows came out, I'd still be on a pit box.
That's right.
That makes every strategy work.
Hamlin 5 seconds behind Suarez. And Hamlin, who started on the pole, wants to win once again here at his home track. Suarez still out front. Suarez, the stage 2 winner, out front, with Hamlin 3.3 seconds behind now, as Hamlin is chipping away at that lead that Suarez has put out there. Logano running third, Reddick fourth, and Austin Dillon still running top 5.
Joey Logano, we haven't talked about him much tonight, but he's had a good run. He's been in the top 5 this last part of the race quite a bit.
It's been a good track for Logano. He's got a streak going of top 10 finishes here, better than anyone else in the field. As we see Suarez now on pit road, so he'll give up the lead. Hamlin will take over the top spot as Suarez comes to pit road. Dillon.
And a reminder, they started this run on the prime tires, and that's what they will stick with here. So they'll keep their one remaining set of the option tires for the last stop of this race. And so that's the plan here. Suarez has been still pretty happy with his race car. Knew they were going to take their lumps here initially in this final stage. Suarez trying to maintain track position now, and Suarez is released.
So race leader Denny Hamlin was on pit road at 279, which is about 15 laps ago, as we're at 294 now. And Suarez comes onto pit road, so his tires 15 laps pressure. Will that make a difference as far as the cars that are in front of him?
Well, it'll definitely be an advantage. You know, he's going to have more pace as we ride on board Joe Logano. But you said it, Jeff, this 22 car, not a lot of focus on him, and here he is cut into this 11th lead. It's down to under a half a second. The sun's down, the lights are on. You know, I know there's a lot with these tires, but it's still the standard Richmond race, which is you got to stay ahead of your adjustments. The track continues to shift.
Short track racing in Virginia. Hamlin, Logano, 1 and 2. And Austin Dillon in that 3, running in the 3rd position.
Richard Childress has to be very happy with what he's seen with this 3 car tonight. Spoken a lot about unhappy with how this team is running. Oh, both he and Kyle Busch. They came here this weekend unloaded. They were fastest in practice at good pace, and it's been that way all night tonight. So good signs for RCR.
We're talking about upset playoffs. Can you imagine what would happen if the 3 goes to victory lane?
Yeah, right now, Austin Dillon, as far as drivers that would love to have a win, Austin Dillon is currently 32nd in the playoff standings. Logano running second, a half a second behind the 11 of Denny Hamlin. As he goes by the 42 here. John Hunter Nemechek, or tries to get by the 42 of John Hunter Nemechek.
Logano is one of the smoother drivers, but the guy he's chasing, Denny Hamlin, he is as well. Both of these guys are able to find right on the edge of grip. They're able to operate their race cars right here where the car needs to turn, right there. They know exactly how much speed to carry into the corner without trying to carry too much speed so the car can turn. That's what makes these guys great drivers. They don't overdrive the race car. Driving a car harder does not mean you're driving it faster. You have to find that grip and be right against it, not over it. You go over the grip, it's slower. You go under the grip too far, it's too slow because you're not there. So both of these guys, they know right where it is. Saw that 11 car. He can see the car in front of him. He's loose on corner exit. 8 car of Kyle Busch. Look, see that? There's no way that Kyle Busch can make pace with a car that does not have rear grip, and you could see it was just sliding around. He's on much older tires here.
Under 100 laps, 98 to go now in this race, and a familiar face up front with Denny Hamlin leading. Hamlin has won this race 5 times before, and again here at his home racetrack, you would think that with such dominance and how everything is going for Denny Hamlin, he would be welcomed with open arms. But surprisingly, as Marty mentioned in the opening of the show, there were about 70% boos when Denny Hamlin was introduced to the crowd here. Dylan.
William Byron runs in the 7th spot, and this is a bit of an overachievement. They didn't feel like they had much more than a 10th place car, so they've chipped away at it here. They've got another set of reds laying as well, and want to go about 60 laps on this run, which should put them, I think, about 50 or so to go when they can come in and put those reds on. So that's the plan for the 24 here, and we'll just see what Byron can do here as he runs in the 7th spot, Kim.
Chastain running in the 6th position. Haven't talked much about him tonight. He only has 1 top 5 finish and 11 Richmond starts. And so I asked the team kind of what their thoughts were headed into this race. And they said yesterday in practice, they purposely started on the reds because they wanted a really good read on how the car drove on the yellows, on those prime tires. Phil Surgeon said they felt really good about their pace. We're seeing it right now, but that points battle around the bubble, around that cutoff line, very close. We had Chris Buescher with an issue on pit road earlier, but Bubba Wallace having a strong night, so it's going to be a fight to the end before we get to the playoffs.
And that's what we anticipate when you go to short track racing, a fight right up until the end. Hamlin out in front. One of the fastest on the track is Austin Dillon as he tries to take second away from Logano here. Logano charging back on the outside, though. Doesn't want to give up the spot. Austin Dillon having a great race right now.
16 of Ty Dillon, fresh off pit road. You see what newer tires will do. Not for position. That's the car on the top 3 wide.
You see Joey Logano, he's just pinching off Austin Dillon. He's making him ask his car to do things that his car doesn't want to do. If Logano went way up the racetrack, it would allow Austin to manipulate his car the way he wants to, but Joey's not going to do that. Joey's going to give him very little racetrack.
Well, and Austin's having a great night. He's run more laps in the top 5 tonight than all of 2024 entering tonight. I mean, this is a big step for the 3 car.
As this battle is going on, Hamlin's really not getting away from him. I think Austin Dillon, if he can make this pass, he has the fastest race car. At some point, Austin's just going to have to get aggressive and just kind of move Joey up the racetrack, because he's eating his tires up. The more he runs down here without being able to let his car leave the corner, go out to the wall, that's putting pressure on the tires. That's taking life out of him. right here, he's got good forward momentum, the 22 does, but the 3 needs to overdrive the corner a little bit. Just run Joey up the racetrack.
Oh.
See that right there, he tried to carry too much speed in the middle. He needs to do it on entry. It's easy for me to say. I'm sure the 3 car is loose on entry. He can't really get in there the way he wants to make that pass.
He's going to have to regroup now.
Regroup, but the 22 is not going to let him to his right rear.
See, right there, he got loose. Back of the car just didn't have enough grip. And now he needs to kind of cool the tires off a little bit, Steve.
Yep.
He just put a ton of pressure, drove a lot of heat in him. Just needed to complete that pass.
Lap 3:18.83 to go. We expect, if this continues to run, green flag pit stops around lap 350, maybe even 345, somewhere, 55 to go is probably when you're going to want to pit for the final time, or at least the final time if we run green.
Marty.
Yeah, Rick, that final stop coming up in about 30 laps. As Steve mentions, we watched the battle for second. A little spicy out there. It's also spicy here on pit road. So, Steve, here's the dilemma for the leading cars up front. You can see how many option sets they have left, including leader Denny Hamlin. But what do you put on that stop that's coming up in about 30 laps? Do you go with the primary tire and hold that option set thinking maybe there's a caution with 10 or 15 to go? That would be the way to go. Or do you put that option set on now? Crew chiefs have to make that decision in the next few minutes.
I think what is your priority of the race, right? Hamlin with track position probably has to go ahead and put the reds on and hope there's not a yellow. But I think about guys like Byron back in 8th, Larson 9th, maybe Hocevar in 11th. Right now, they're having good runs, but there's only 16 cars in the lead lap. So even if they guess wrong, they might only lose 6 spots. But for Hocevar, or even Stenhouse, who's having a great day in 12th, if you save those reds and you get that lotto ticket, you get that yellow with 20 to go, we've seen just how much more grip they have. You're instantly in the position to win a race. And remember, a win is an instant berth in the playoffs. So when you kind of look at the mixed field, Hocevar, Stenhouse, there's some guys back there that could upset Josh Berry. Austin Dillon.
Austin Dillon.
I think has the best car. I agree with you, Jeff. He just has got to find a way around the 22. Now it'd be hard for them, right? Because it's kind of what Paul Wolf told Marty and the pit crew guys, or the pit reporters earlier. This is a race they were so good at. They really didn't want to see this tire option because they thought it was going to mix the field. But now here's the 3 with a great car. They wish this was just, hey, let's just come in and put tires on because we think we can beat everybody heads up.
You can see Austin Dillon. He rolls the center of the corner better than Logano can. Now he's under him. Logano's going to give him that inside lane.
We've seen this before. Can he complete the pass?
See, this is where Logano makes it hard on him because he gets that forward momentum on corner exit, and now he's got Austin where he again is pinching his car off. He's asking his car to do things that he didn't have to ask it. Didn't have to ask of it when he was behind him. Now Dillon's got to take this spot. He's far enough on him now. Just run him up the racetrack.
I agree. Right here. You got to open the wheel.
He's cleared him.
He's got him.
He's cleared him. So Austin Dillon up to second now.
50 races since his last top 5, and that was on a dirt track.
I think he's going to run Hamlin down quickly.
He's 1/8 of a second back now, but he is definitely faster. Austin Dillon, fastest car on the track, tracking down Denny. He has closed the gap. He is now to the back bumper of the 11 of Denny Hamlin. Austin Dillon, 32nd in points, wants to lock himself into the playoffs if he could get a win here at Richmond.
Steve, you and I were watching during the break. This 3 car, it rolls the center of the corner so well. Look at this. He turns really early, but still is able to rotate through the middle.
Logano on pit road. Again, he was running up there in the top 3. Quite a few cars coming to pit road to make stops. Now, Steve, they can't expect those option tires to make it all the way with 68 laps to go. Dylan.
Here's Kyle Larson in, kind of the first domino to fall here for the final pit stop. Chassis adjustment, prime tires going on for Larson, Marty.
All of these cars, Dylan, pitting here in the top 10, including Michael McDowell, who was running 7th. He is going to the primary tire. So you got to wonder if this is going to drag everybody else down pit road. And yes, I think it will, Steve. I think Denny Hamlin, Chris Gabehart just now called him down pit road. They wanted to run a little bit longer, but here he comes down pit road.
Yeah, I mean, it's still a standard race with tire fall off, which means every lap you stay on the racetrack, it's going to cost you time. Now, you'll make it back on the end of the run if your tires age, but most cars coming to pit road, Kim.
And you see the 45 of Tyler Reddick said, I'm getting really tight. I can't put any more wheel into it when I dive in the corner. Showing their hand there. They put the primes on. They still have a set of box tires left at the end of the race, Marty.
See Austin Dillon coming down pit road. He just was racing with Denny Hamlin. They went with the primary tire as well as Dillon's here on pit road. And they're going to go with the primary tire as well.
See everybody's decision with 66 to go. They know that's too far for the Reds. Plus, if you get a yellow with the field bunched up, we saw how quick Suarez sank, right? He started in the front 2 rows, and it was just a big difference. So now we see the 11 of Denny Hamlin into turn 1, easily clears the 3. That's coming a lap earlier. Just 1 lap on tires is about 1.5 seconds, 2 seconds. So all of that work, Denny Hamlin now basically half a backstretch in front of the 3. The 22 of Logano also leapfrogging Austin Dillon.
Yeah, and Hamlin normally has a very good pit crew. We'll see, though, as Kim, the 9 on pit road.
Yep, the 9 putting on those primary tires again, saving the last set of options for a late race caution. Really the big problem all day is he's been needing to be freed up as the track has gotten tighter, Dylan.
See Carson Hocevar, he's been inside the top 10. He'll work his way down pit road. Should go to primary tires for them as well. All the way down here, just right in the middle of pit road. He'll hit his marks here. Crew goes over the wall. They'll make that 4-tire change for Hocevar.
Now, if you're the 20 of Christopher Bell, you ask yourself, what can I do different? I had such a good car. I got caught speeding. Maybe you run a little longer. Can you run another 12, 14 laps, put the Reds on, and just be the opposite? Say, you know what? We have already won. This is our best chance to win another race. Crew Chief Adam Stevens is at home crunching the numbers, or I'm sure in the war room at Joe Gibbs Racing crunching the numbers, understanding how much time he's losing.
Denny Hamlin had a 0.2 of a second lead over the 3, and then the pit stops actually pretty close. The 3 had a 9.6 second pit stop, and the 11 had a 9.9 second pit stop. But just that extra lap, Steve, like you mentioned, coming just 1 lap earlier.
We have another rate, you know, Darlington, the regular season is going to be a lot the same way, right? If you come a lap early, you're going to make up a ton of time on another high fall-off racetrack. Joey Logano right there in the mix. And traffic makes a difference as well, right? Because there's the 22. Well, the 3 is just a little behind, but he's got cars in the mix right now. That 9 of Chase Elliott is a lap down in the 17th position. Just not really had what it's taken to keep up tonight.
The only cautions tonight have been for stage breaks, so only 2 cautions, and currently 14 cars on the lead lap.
So with Bell running long here, I think he's showing his hand. I think we expect to see the 20, who's the leader, to pit and put on the Reds. I think that's his move, right? His move is he has to do something to make up for a penalty. This battle is so good right here. Austin Dillon, he loves this. Maybe he can chase the 9 through, Jeff.
Yeah, that's what you want to try to do, is catch the 22, use another car for a pick, try to get by him. Logano's not going to let it happen. Every driver is hungry for wins, but I can promise you, the driver of that 3 car, it's been a long time since he's seen a win.
He's starving. He's starving for a win.
Look at this run right here. He's got, that car just makes so much rear grip and turn on corner exit. Now he's in position with the 22. Now he hopes to get the 22 in a little bit of a pick.
And the 3, who worked so hard to get by the 22 earlier, now looks as though he's going to clear him as Christopher Bell is on pit road. Dylan.
And team just reminding him, Stevie Reed's the spotter, do not speed. That's what happened on this last stop. They are not going to the reds. They're going to go to another set of primes here. So they have their set of sticker red tires still sitting in the box. If there was a late race yellow, got to make sure that tire doesn't get away there at the top of the screen. Left side's going on here for Bell. Smooth stop and routine service.
So ran long thinking that his tires with 57 to go will just be better over the last 15 laps of this race, maybe trying to make it up, as Austin Dillon now is technically third because Suarez has yet to come to pit road. He leads the race, but Hamlin, we expect to be the leader. They're both catching Suarez at a pretty impressive clip.
Now, if Suarez does wait until he thinks he can make it with the option tires, he's going to be so far behind that they probably just can't catch those guys that are on the prime. But Suarez is up front. Hamlin, Dillon racing second and third. Under 50 laps to go with Denny Hamlin out front. It's NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. Christopher Bell in the 20, trying to unlap himself. He'll try to get by teammate Denny Hamlin. And will Austin Dillon follow and see if he can do the same thing? Dillon has closed back on that 11.
Austin gets close, but every once in a while he has a little slip off turn 2. I don't know what he's fighting there, but he'll give up time. Down here off turn 4, the car looks really nice.
Super low on corner exit. That means his car is turning well. He can run that low. That's a big advantage, especially as the tires get older, because he's leading straighter. He's keeping the weight on both rear tires more equally distributed. If you make a big arc on corner exit, it puts a lot of pressure on that right rear tire. What he's running could be better for a long run, Steve.
And if this runs green, we're going to look at nearly 68 laps on this set of tires. Remember back in stage 1, Denny Hamlin led, car fell off, Bell went by him and kind of checked out. So Hamlin has fallen off earlier in the race on a long run. There's been so many other things happen, it's been hard to keep up with who's good on long runs and short runs with strategy. But I think if you're the 3 car and the car is turning, Jeff, to your point, be patient. See if the 11 will come back to you. Don't burn your stuff up.
Yeah, the 3 looks a little bit looser to me this run.
Again, how much of a shakeup would it be if the 3 could get up here and win this race and win his way back into the playoffs?
Oh, Rick, total chaos heading to Michigan, Daytona,
Darlington, the 3 races remaining before the playoffs get underway.
You know, we've Bubba Wallace has done a nice job of working his way in. He's currently +4 and 15th, right? So as we see now the 12 come to pit road, I assume they're going to put the reds on and try to make a sprint to the finish. Marty.
Yeah, remember they had that bad pit stop earlier, so Jonathan Hassler just doing whatever he can to get his driver in a better position. But he told Ryan Blaney a moment ago, we need to run longer here because we are going to the option tire. So Blaney with 44 to go, having to run just a little bit longer on that primary tire, goes to the option tire. We'll see if this helps him out track finishing wise.
A lot of stories with tires, Rick, but we have what Richmond always presents, which is just a great battle between 2 guys trying to save those rear tires, Jeff, trying to get the car to the finish. Still 43 to go. We have a long ways of slipping and sliding.
Yeah, these 2 guys have driven away from Joey Logano. They put about 2 seconds on him. You wonder if Joey's back there. His car's not exactly like he wanted. He recognized that. So is he saving a little bit of tire? See, what Hamlin's done a nice job of here is Austin Dillon wants to be on the bottom of the racetrack. And Hamlin knows it, so he puts his car right on the bottom. That takes air off Austin Dillon's car, doesn't allow him to get around the corner quite as easily.
You want to know how much tires matter. Out this rear bumper at the 11, you're going to see that white hood. That's the 47, Ricky Stenhouse. He came like 8 laps later. So that 8-lap fresher tires is allowing this 47 to run these 2 down. The 15 right there, Riley Herbst, haven't really said his name much tonight. Few laps down currently, but you see he's moving through.
Just his 4th start in the Cup Series. Riley Herbst on the wheel of that 15.
And we haven't heard yet what Riley Herbst is doing next year. Just won a big Xfinity race at Indy.
They're running full-time in the Xfinity Series this year.
All right, so this ride, all these cars catching with better tires has hurt Austin Dillon a little bit. Now they're going to get to Hamlin. He's got to take advantage of it. Dillon.
Same approach here for Suarez. Wanted to run as long as they could on this stint of tires with the primes before they switch to the option tire to finish. Blaney coming in as well. Kind of forced their hand. Had to make sure they could come in and cover him as well. Options on for Suarez.
Remember, Suarez was the first one to try him, and it worked. It got him up front. Now what will it do at the end of the race with under 39 laps to go? And those option tires have some magic for the driver of the 99.
Denny Hamlin has made a career out of these moments right here. Just, you mentioned it, not over swinging, not over trying, not over driving, just running right to the edge of grip of his race car. It's an uncanny feel to know where that edge is and just not slide a tire. Here, Martinsville, this short track style of racing. Darlington in a few weeks. I know it's not a short track, but it's kind of the same idea, not overstepping. Oh, this is an opportunity for the 3. The 11's forced to go up the hill. Can he get a runoff corner exit? He does, but I don't think you want to leave that bottom open for the 3 car. You see, look at the run down the backstretch.
The 11 right there, I actually think that's a mistake trying to get back by the 47 car. 47's on better tires. I think that actually did not work out for him. He'd have been better off just to roll in behind him on the front straightaway and have a better setup to the corner.
Pit crew's been better for the 3 team. They've been the best here at Richmond.
He's right there.
He's closed in.
Hamlin knows it though, so Hamlin's going to go all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. You can get me on the outside, go for it. You hadn't shown it to me yet. You hadn't shown you can do it. You're going to have to prove it to me.
I don't hate that. Though with 36 to go, you can lose some track position if the 3 did want to try something a little different.
And they've got the lap cars in front of them that they're going to have to deal with as well. You see the 54 coming up on fresher tires.
What Austin needs to do right here is just stay as close as he can to the 54 entering turn 1. Right? 54 is going to be under the 11. Now Go with him. Watch the 54. He's going to get by Hamlin right now. The 3 can make a big arc. Go with the 54. There you go. That's the right idea. I couldn't quite get there.
And the 54 making it difficult on the 3 right here. 54, of course, the teammate to the 11 of Denny Hamlin. And that has worked out perfectly for the 54. Here comes Dillon. Dillon just a little bit too loose entering the turn, but he gets beside him for the lead.
He cooked it off into turn 1. Way overdrove the bottom, but made it stick. Can he get there again?
Contact right there.
Oh, does he put the bumper to him? 32 laps to go.
I'd have been okay with a little bit of contact there. Hamlin kind of took his line away from him.
Yeah, Hamlin is not afraid to chop in front of that 3.
Dillon building back up again. What can he do with Hamlin? Dillon's been the fastest car of these two, but can he get past him?
We saw that winless streak broken by the 48 a few weeks back. It's been 68 races for the 3 of Austin Dillon. Whoa.
Threw it in there again. No contact made.
Austin Dillon's just trying everything he can. He's changing his lane on corner entry. See a little bit higher entry. Now going to try to turn and get underneath the 11.
There's those option tires for Daniel Suarez. Oh, he'll put a little bumper to the 11.
This is going to be an opportunity for the 3.
Dillon to the inside. And the 11 pulls back away and clears him.
Austin's just a little bit too loose right now.
Oh, it's there again.
Oh, he's got a great shot right here. He'll be door to door with him into 1.
29 laps to go. Dillon for the lead. And they're door to door as they exit 2. Rolls through 3 and 4 well again. And can he clear him? He does. Austin Dillon's out in front of Richmond.
All right, now go to work. You got the 12 car. He's on better tires. Don't let him put you in a bad position. Give him the top right here.
Austin Dillon out in front. You're watching NASCAR Cup Series racing from Richmond, presented by Toyota. 21 laps to go for the 3 of Austin Dillon. He's out front now, almost a second over Denny Hamlin running second. Logano is third, Reddick and Wallace the top 5.
Most of the leaders have opted to put the yellow tires on. You see that by the little chip next to their name. They are thinking if there's a late yellow, let's put that last set of options on. Daniel Suarez off strategy, 15 seconds back on the Reds and making monster lap time, 7, 8, 9 tenths of a second a lap. So normally 15 seconds back, you wouldn't even think of it. But with 20 to go, math says he's going to have a chance. Now, that doesn't take tire fall off into account, Dillon, in traffic, but can Suarez pull it off?
Well, the team thinks he can. If he can keep up the pace he's at, they just told him a lap ago, he would pass the leaders and pull away and beat them by 6 seconds. Now, there's a lot of variables that could prohibit that, including all that traffic that you see on the racetrack there. Suarez does have a little bit of clean air right now. Didn't last long, but they told him as soon as you get clean air like you'll have now as he goes by Chastain, hammer down. We have got to make up some time.
I mean, 8 tenths of a second that lap. I mean, that's nearly a second a lap. He's going to have to be perfect. I mean, 8 tenths, 14 seconds, 19 laps.
Yeah, but you got to remember, too, as Austin Dillon, as he catches lap traffic, you know, how is he going to get through them? With older tires, it's harder to navigate them.
And the other
side, a little bit of hold up.
The other side is, do these Reds finally give up on the 99, or can he hold them on?
Yeah, Suarez put them on lap 360. So can they go 40 laps? We think they can.
Oh, I think they can go 40. The question is, are they still an advantage for 40? It seemed like around lap 35 they lost a little bit of that grip, but if you're ever going to get them to hold on, this is the run you want them to.
68 races. Last one was Daytona, and I know a lot of race fans out there love seeing the 3 out in front on the racetrack.
And it's been all weekend. Practice, qualifying, in the race.
You talked about what a shakeup it would mean. Look at this right here, the playoff bubble. If Austin Dillon were to win this race, Buescher, Chastain, Wallace, I mean, that is no difference, Kim, in those guys. That would be a tight battle.
Yeah, and we've talked at length about this team putting together a full weekend. They've been able to do it here this weekend. We talked about how strong they were yesterday. I asked Crew Chief Justin Alexander, you have a strong car. What do you need to do to win this race? And he says, if Austin does what Austin can do, which is be very good at Richmond and manage his equipment, manage his tires, we think we can win this race. Right now, energy building around their pit box. Johnny Morris from Bass Pro Shops waiting kind of in the wings, watching as Austin Dillon continues to click off leading laps here at Richmond with 14 to go, looking for his first win of the 2024 season.
Steve, don't get those victory hats out yet.
No. That truck driver even leaves the pit box to go get the bag. Do not move.
No.
Well, we want to keep our eye on Suarez. Now it's 10.6 seconds, the gap back. And he continues to gain. But is there enough time? Only 13 laps to go. And again, he wasn't gaining a full second a lap. So it's getting a little more difficult to see if that would work on those option tires, the softer, faster tires. There's RC. He's up in one of the suites watching. We heard him give the pep talk before the race. It seems to have worked out up to this point. Dillon with a 2.5 second lead over second place Denny Hamlin, under 12 laps to go.
And now the 3 kind of mired in traffic, having to defend the 99 in clean air, but he has maybe 8 or 10, even 12 cars between them. So, you know, he has to kind of gobble up the gap with clean air and then work his way through traffic. With 10 to go, it's going to be a very tall task for the 99 to keep this pace up.
Richard Childress has 116 wins as a car owner. And they have been struggling. This, if it could happen, would be one of the biggest ones. They have been under scrutiny. People have been saying, what is wrong with RCR? You can't win races with Kyle Busch. Something must be wrong with you. You're not doing a good job. This would get a lot of those people quiet.
Oh, yeah. And we asked the question before the race. Who spent those Olympic week breaks the best? Who was able to figure something out over that break, and it looks as though it's RCR, at least right now, as we see Austin Dillon running up here. Under 10 laps to go. Now under 9 laps remaining at Richmond. Austin Dillon still with a 2.4 second lead over Hamlin. 7.9 seconds back to Suarez.
All right, you're hoping if you're Austin Dillon for no cautions. Don't cause it.
Yep.
Right?
That's right.
You do not cause a caution right here. Make sure you got to make lap time, because again, Hamlin's only 2.5 seconds back, but you got a little bit of space to be patient.
Closes the gap on the 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Coming up on that 42 of John Hunter Nemechek. 7 laps to go.
99, I think, at this point just has too far to go with the current situation. So it's really all about the 3 and if the race can stay green.
Remember, the 99 of Daniel Suarez started 21st today. So playing the strategy, using the option tires first, gaining track position, actually won stage 2. Got a playoff point there. And now is running in the top 6, trying to take 5th away from Bubba Wallace.
And the other one, you see the 12 car running in 9th. He's on the option tire. He's working himself up through the field as well.
Under 5 laps remaining. And now fired in traffic. But he continues to click off good lap times. 25 flat there for Dillon that lap. Compared to those 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, he's running as fast or faster than everybody in the top 5. Down the backstretch. Dillon settling in now. You guys mentioned you don't want to cause the caution.
He's actually in a good spot right here. Nobody behind him. He's pushing him. I'm not even trying to pass Stenhouse at the moment.
3 to go. Johnny Moore, excuse me, in the lower left-hand corner of Bass Pro Shops. We saw him come out and support Martin Truex Jr. when he had announced his retirement. Now he's here watching the 3 of Austin Dillon. Johnny Morris has been a part of RCR for a really long time as a sponsor and a friend. Under 2 laps to go. Whoa! And the caution's going to come out right there with under 2 laps remaining. It happened right in front of him. They've got a set of the option tires. Priest and the 41 involved. Take a look at what happens.
The 47 clearly the inside of the 41. The 41 comes down like the 47's not there. Contact between the 2. Well, the 47 though didn't really go all the way to the bottom. Not sure exactly, but they ran out of real estate.
RC's reaction. He's on the radio right away.
Well, Rick, you talked about how good their pit crew was tonight. That's what they're going to need. Let's take another look at this.
See, I think the 47's loose. I think the 47 got loose and he couldn't turn the car. You saw him lock the left front up.
Couldn't get to the bottom.
Yes.
41's turning in like he's going to the bottom.
Yes.
Stenhouse stopped the 47. It'll be overtime.
Well, everybody's going to put on. You see all the drivers with reds left, Dillon, Hamlin, Logano, Reddick. The 3 is going to have a great stop. Remember, the pole for Denny Hamlin will give him pit stall 1. Now, it's a pretty big gap down to the camera here, so it's not a big advantage as it is at other racetracks, but it's still an advantage. But this pit crew right here has been rock solid all night long. They know it's been 68 races. This is a crew that's been together. Nick Covey right there, Jack Mann. So this crew is stuck together through the ups and the downs. This is their moment.
Paul Swan, the tire carrier, has been friends with Austin Dillon forever. Now, as we're looking at this, we see the 3 is coming to pit road, and the gap between the 3 and the 11, we'll see if that keeps the lead, and they're on pit road.
And you'll see the 22 of Joey Logano at the top there. They'll put on those option tires to end the race. Austin Dillon, they've got a set of those red option tires. They're a little cheerleading on the radio. We can do this. Yes, we can. We're going to be fine was the word from crew chief Justin Alexander. They freed him up a little bit, Marty.
Tim, this is exactly how Denny Hamlin won the spring race here at Richmond. A very late caution. His pit crew gave him the lead on the final stop before an overtime restart, but they will not do it today. In fact, they will lose a position here on pit road. A drag race with Joey Logano, but I believe the 11 team lost the spot here on pit road. They did indeed, Rick.
Dillon holds serve, and he will win the race off of pit road. And again, there were only 15 cars on the lead lap when the caution came out. A sprint to the finish. Can they finish out what has been a great weekend for RCR and this 3 team?
Well, he's got a lot of work ahead of him. That is for sure. This guy right here, he's seen it over and over and over. He knew not to celebrate until the checkered flag fell.
Yep.
He's been part of it.
And look at the celebration here, right? I mean, there's still racing to happen, but if you're the pit crew, you've done what you can do. You retain the lead.
Okay, you start on the inside.
When
you choose.
So look, that's a great question. Like, you think about it, you said it earlier, the only cautions have been stage ends. We haven't had enough cautions to really understand where the best place to start is. On top of that, Rick, no one has thought about short runs. Every run tonight, Steve, has been long runs, air pressure for long runs, setup for long runs. Now you're going to have a shootout. What do you need to do to your car to make it go for 1 lap, 2 laps? That's all you're doing now. All night long, you've been saying, okay, I know we got to go at least 35, 40, 50 laps. Now it's just maybe 2. Who's going to make the right adjustment?
Yeah, what air pressure in your tires? Where do you need the brake bias? All of the things that Jeff talked about. And Joey Logano, Denny, I mean, it's a stacked field behind Austin Dillon.
And it was Denny Hamlin who, in the spring, took advantage of a late caution after Martin Truex Jr. had dominated the race. A late caution happens, and Denny Hamlin capitalizes.
And the pass came on pit road right here. The 11 team, a great pit stop. They're a little earlier on pit lane. They get by the 19, and then a little controversy on the restart. I mean, he went as soon as he thought he could, and it worked for the 11. This has been one of those tracks where the restart zone seems to come in question a lot. I don't know why. It's kind of in the same position at every other track. Jeff, you and I had that conversation yesterday. We were out there in the pace car, and we couldn't quite figure out what was special about this place. Let's listen into the 11.
Obviously, I think the 22 will take the front row, and we'll take the bottom. They're all going to wash up. We're going to drive under them and win, just like we did in the spring.
All right, there you have it.
That's a plan.
Chris Gabehart can't say he didn't have a plan. All right, so Jeff, where do you, if I'm the 3, I think I have to take the top.
You know,
if you get wrecked getting into 1, then you get wrecked. But I think to win the race, you have to hold the 22 down, clear him off turn 2.
I agree with that, but it is risky. It really is risky because you would never consider giving someone to the bottom 20 years ago on a short track, but it's different now. We've seen this second groove work. You kind of have to trust the guy, but you gonna trust Joey Logano?
Well, so now, so let me flip it. If I'm taking the bottom, then I'm willing to do the pushing, right? Like I'm not saying wreck him, but I'm gonna have to take half a groove. I'm gonna have to really work him up on exit.
So if you look at restarts throughout the season, Austin Dillon has been horrendous. 35th is what he ranks on restarts. But remember where he's normally restarted throughout this year. As we see them coming up on the choose.
Yeah, and he hadn't had this good of a car. So he's going to the bottom, giving Joey Logano the top. So what he's got to do now, Steve, is he knows that Denny Hamlin's going to try to make it 3 wide on him, getting into turn 1. The key is leaving the restart zone with forward momentum. At that point, You got to do whatever you got to do with the 22. If the 22 is alongside you getting into turn 1, you can't let him pinch you down and make it where you can't turn your car. You got to use a little bit of racetrack up on him.
And if I'm Austin Dillon, when the nose of my car even sniffs the first line of the restart zone, I'm gone. There is no, I have not seen waiting in the restart zone work. I know in theory you wait, think you can get the jump. It just doesn't seem to work that way.
And again, the control car, the lead car, is the one who chooses when to go. Once you get to that first line, they can do it anywhere in that restart zone. And Steve, you think the strategy is to do it as quickly as possible. It's overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Back up through the gears they go, and it doesn't look like a great restart for Dillon. Logano on the outside, they fan out. They're 4 wide, entering turn 1. Logano with a great restart. Logano clears him down the backstretch. Can Dillon fight back? He's had a great car all weekend long. One more time around for Logano. The white flag's in the air.
If Dillon gets to him, there will be contact.
He can't do it in 1 and 2. Logano looks back. He has a car length now. Joey Logano through 3 and 4 for the final time. There's the contact. He does get to him. The 11 on the inside. He gets into the wall. Dillon's going to win it at the line.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah. Buddy. Pop's proud of you, buddy. Man, I am so proud of you, dude.
You want to shake the playoffs up? Have the guy that's 32nd in points win the race. Somewhere in there, there he is, Austin Dillon. Career win number 5. His 4 previous wins, 3 of them had all come when he was below the playoff cut line. Keep your eye on the 11 and the 22. The 11 still trying to roll on pit road as this celebration starts on the front stretch.
That's how you celebrate with a season-saving move. Austin Dillon with a playoff spot on the line, with your season on the line. Was that a fair move?
I don't know, man. It's been 2 years, and this is the first car I've had with a shot to win. You know, I felt like with 2 to go, we were the fastest car. Obviously had to have a straightaway, and Ricky wrecked the guy. I hate to do that, but sometimes you just got to have it, and I got to thank the good Lord above. It's been tough for the last 2 years, man, and I care about RCR and these fans, and my wife, and this is my first for my baby girl. It means a lot. It is, I hate it, but I had to do it.
You can see the emotion for you and what this means to you and RCR. What did you say to yourself going down the backstretch? What were you willing to do to put it in the playoffs?
Whatever it takes. Whatever it takes.
What is it with you and walk-off wins? You did it at Daytona a few years ago. You do it here with 4 races left in the regular season to put the 3 car into the playoffs.
We just never give up, and man, we have great partners in Johnny Morris and Bass Pro Shops, Poet, Jeff Broyne. I can't thank all the people enough that helped this team, Cynics Tools, but yeah, you just got to get it done sometimes.
Austin Dillon is in the playoffs, but I'm sure Joey Logano is not a very happy man, Dylan Welch.
Well, let's get his thoughts on it here. He was just watching the replay on the big screen. Austin's season was on the line there, but what are your thoughts on what happened down there?
It's chicken shit. There's no doubt about it. He's 4 car lengths back, not even close. Then he wrecks the 11 to go along with it. And then he's going to go up there and thank God and praise everything with his baby. It's a bunch of BS. It's not even freaking close. I mean, dude, I get it, bump and run. I get it. I didn't back up the corner at all. He came in there and just drove through me. It's ridiculous that's the way we race. Unbelievable. I get bump and runs. I do that. I would expect it. But from 4 car lengths back, he was never going to make the corner. And then he wrecks the other car. He wrecks the 11 to go with it. So what a piece of crap.
So what's fair game moving forward? How do you race him? Next week or in the playoffs?
Wait and see.
Thanks, Joey. Disappointing day for the 22 team. Not the finish that they probably deserved.
Again, it's the final short track race of the regular season. 3 races remain before the playoffs, but it's Austin Dillon. Got into the back of the 22, got into the back of the 11, and got to the finish line before anyone else. Austin Dillon wins at Richmond and won his way into the playoffs. Welcome to NASCAR America Post-Race, presented by Progressive. Under the lights, short track racing. Austin Dillon gets the win. And I'm sure a disappointed Hamlin, who finished 3rd, is now standing by with Marty.
Yeah, let's chat with him and get his take on the move by Austin Dillon. I'm sure you understand his position, his season, his playoffs on the line. First of all, what did you think about his move on the 22 and then him hitting you as well? Fair or foul, Denny?
Well, it's obviously foul, but it's fair in NASCAR. You know, we're just a different league, right, where you know, there is no penalties for rough driving or anything like that. So it opens up the opportunity for, you know, Austin to be able to just do whatever he wants. The problem I had is I got hooked in the right rear again, and, you know, I'm just minding my own business, and he turned left and hooked me in the right rear and blew my damn shoulder out. He's like, you know, it's just, I don't know. I mean, the record book won't care, right, about what happened. He's going to be credited with a win, but obviously he's just not going to go far because you know, you got to pay your dues back on stuff like that. So, but it's worth it because they jump 20 positions in points, and, you know, so I understand all that, and, you know, there's no ill will there. I get it. I just hate I was part of it. You know, it would have been fun if I was not one of the 2 guys that got taken out in the last corner, but I understand it. Doesn't mean I have to agree with it, and we'll talk about it tomorrow.
And for a brief moment, the seas parted for you. I'm sure you thought, hey, this is our shot at the win. We're hearing that you now are going to be scored in 2nd place. So, Denny, as someone who's a spokesman for the sport, do you feel like a line was crossed tonight, and maybe that's too far?
Oh, I mean, absolutely a line was crossed. I mean, but it's an invisible line, and it's not defined. I mean, they have rules and provisions for stuff like this, but they never take action for it. And what happens is you see young guys coming up in the short track ranks seeing that, and they think it's fine. And that's why we see some of the lower series turn out the way they do in these green, white, checkered situations, because some of the best that they're seeing on Sunday do, you know, stuff like that. But it's, it's, you know, who am I to throw stones in a glass house? But, man, I certainly never won one that way.
Hope the shoulder heals up this week. We'll see you in Michigan.
All right, thanks.
Denny Hamlin winds up in second place, but Rick, some very honest and candid comments from Denny Hamlin post-race on his thoughts with what happened with Austin Dillon.
Well, I think we heard it from Denny Hamlin. We heard it from Joey Logano. Neither one of them are, you know, agreeing with how they were just raced by Austin Dillon for that win.
It all starts on the restart, right? Like the 3, we talked about it, he just doesn't go. Like he doesn't go early enough. He needs to jump at the first line. He waits. Logano gets a monster restart, rolls around him, and I have to agree with Joey. You know, Joey said, hey, the bump and run, the 3 definitely close from a long ways back, 4 car lengths back. Jeff, let's go all the way back to the restart.
Yeah, well, here you go. Austin Dillon picked the inside, which meant he had to leave with forward momentum to be ahead of the 22. Joey Logano did a better job on the restart, and now the 22 is ahead of him. Now it's advantage Joey Logano.
And right here, he knows he's in trouble. The 3 needs to try to wash it up. Once the 22 gets powered down on the outside, it's kind of game over. We get down here in turn 3. The 3 car is good, but not good enough to gain any time, even with the 22 washing up a little bit.
Yeah, and we talked about it with this point system. Winning a race means you have a chance to win a championship. It's going to test your values. It's going to test your morals. Austin talked about how long it had been since he won, and Joey's right. I mean, it's a long way back. There's no way Austin Dillon can make the corner and still do this. So contact. Logano out of the way. Here comes Hamlin. Hamlin thinks he's going to win the race. Contact again. Austin Dillon the winner. And I understand why Hamlin and Joey are upset.
Absolutely.
And I also understand why Austin Dillon did it.
Well, you said it. If he could get there, there'd be contact.
2 years. It had been 2 years since Dillon had won a race. And now he will be in the playoffs. But he's going to have a couple guys that he's going to have to be very cautious when he races around them, because Joey Logano has just vented how he felt about it. Denny Hamlin also didn't think it was the way you should race. But they're not standing in victory lane like the 3 team is with Austin Dillon. So overtime. Austin Dillon was so good until a wreck brought out the caution, and then they needed a restart. That restart didn't go the way he wanted it to, but then in the end, aggression got him to the checkered flag first.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.